means it's playing somewhere, which it is playing somewhere. And is Instagram ever going to kick in today? Usually I play that intro there, and that gets Instagram time to kick in, but we'll play this intro then.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
All right, welcome everybody, and thanks everybody for watching us live, who's joining us live right now, because we just had a bad, weird starting time today. But for people that are listening in the podcast, welcome. Actually, I don't have the normal intro. I have to find it somewhere. But we are live on a Saturday to answer gun questions that come into the Ask Gun Questions website, askgunquestions.com, or people that join us live and ask questions as we're going live here. We're joined by Tony from New Jersey. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep, glad to be here, man.
And you're on location, it sounds like. For everybody, what's up? Where you at?
Yes, sir. I'm in Harrisburg, PA, the Great American Outdoor Show, which is pretty much NRA Show, Pennsylvania. So, but on steroids. It's a Great American Outdoor Show. So not only do they have firearms manufacturers here, they have people selling gun parts, selling ammo. They're actually, no one's selling firearms, but they're selling pretty much everything else that goes with it, from holsters to slings to belts. And then when you go to the other part, they have hunting stuff. They have crossbows people are buying. They have hunting trips. They got outfitters. They have fishing gear. They have actual giant ass display with actual fish in tanks. They have different classes and seminars going all 9 days. This is the last 2 days of it. Today, Saturday, and Sunday is the last day. So if you live within 3 hours of Harrisburg, I think it's worth the trip if you're a gun guy or a hunter or just interested in any outdoor stuff. And truthfully, if you ain't really dedicated to the Super Bowl, early Super Bowl crap, you can come here and kind of see a lot of the stuff or some of the stuff that was at SHOT Show, but it's here on the East Coast and it's for less money. I think it's like $10 parking, and I think $20 for the ticket. So I think it's worth going to and checking out. Eat before you get here, though. I was just telling G Webs about how overpriced the food is.
And sounds like kind of mid, not even like fair food. So I was saying, I know some people that really look forward to those kind of events because of the food, but it sounds like, or at least the place you went to wasn't like that, or it's not like that at all.
At least not at this particular vendor. Like, the pizza's freaking pizza, so I don't care. I'm not paying, these crazy prices for a slice. These were ladies that were selling chicken fingers, French fries, and onion rings and fried zucchini. Like, you can have, so I ordered chicken fingers and I got 4 of them, and they were a little better than high school cafeteria lunch chicken fingers. And I think that was, again, 4 of them for $10 or $12. And then I ordered an order of onion rings, and they were another $10 or $12. I think in total it was $22. And I didn't get a drink because a bottle of water was $4.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Is that kind of event where the people at the booths have drinks and stuff, and they'll hook you up if you know them? Oh, really?
I'm sorry. The people at the booth. You mean vendor? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I have water I just picked up from my guys over
Like
at
High Point.
one of the yeah at High Point. But I mean, I'm staying with them too at the Airbnb, and we picked up stuff just for this. But yeah, if you know them, you can probably get a little bit of a hookup, at least some water, because it's ludicrous. It's $4 for a bottle of water, guy. Come on. I already paid to get in. I paid to park. Now you're gonna hit me again? Cool thing is you can bring your bags and you can bring your backpacks and whatnot, so you can bring your water in here if you want to. You can bring your lunch in here if you want to.
I don't know. That one's a little different. Shot Show is only like 4 days. Media day at the range or whatever is like a half a
Hmm.
day, really. So going, some we used to eat breakfast when we had a bunch of people going to media day. We would eat breakfast before, but you got
Hmm.
to get up pretty early. It starts at 8. So by the time you drive out there and everything, find a place to eat breakfast, you gotta get up pretty early, and then especially if you don't just want to scarf it down. But um, you only shoot until 2 or something maybe, and then there's really nothing else to do once you got the kind of everything. That's just pretty easy. And then the rest is shot. I just end up not really worrying about food. The
Hmm.
advantages being that guy, I don't have to worry about going. So there's enough things to do in Vegas that if you want to go nuts, you can. And if you want to just eat cheap, you can. And but I was going to say, but something that's 9 days long, that's a little bit different. Like you can't just muscle through it necessarily. You probably do gotta, especially if people that are working there, probably have to pace themselves pretty good to keep the endurance for the whole 9 days.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to pace yourself. I mean, the good news is, I mean, you still get out of here at I think 7 during the week and maybe 5 or 6 on the weekend. It's 2 weekends. I mean, it's 9 days total. When I first started diversity shooting, started coming to the industry to ask for help, I thought I would have to stop at every vendor and give my elevator speech, and then I learned, one, some people can't help you because they're not in a position to help you. Others just want you to go away. Um, so what you do is you build relationships with a few. So I stopped at NRA ILA's booth because I know the people there, and I thought it was pretty cool because the guy that I did NRA ILA in Nebraska, Kelvin, was actually here at the NRA ILA booth. They flew him in for the show, so that was pretty cool. Because the last time I saw him was in Nebraska a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago. So it was good seeing him. Ran into one of the other guys over at Gun Nuts, so I talked to them and got some video and stuff. So I'm walking around to people I know, Tactical Life Firearms. They're here. They make AR-15s and they do custom work down in Florida, and got to hang out with them. So that was pretty cool. Um, we're talking about building a Jersey legal AR to send up to me, for diversity shoots, and I was giving them the specs, and also I told them to give it a unique uh, paint job. So hopefully we can have that going on because what I have is one of those finishes on it, anodizing on it, that it changes color as you move it in the light. So I'm trying to get either a 14.5 or a 13.9 with a pen and welded muzzle device. Reason being, as close to 16 as possible, but as lightweight as possible, uh, with a better balance. So when I'm introducing it to new shooters, it helps out. It helps them. The lighter weight the AR, the better it is because one, AR doesn't kick that much, obviously, but it allows it to be less front heavy and allows people to run it quicker and have more fun with it. You there?
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't know if you were talking about one for like classes and doing stuff with it,
Okay.
or for taking it to
Well,
diversity shoots.
what I would do is using it for diversity shoots. My whole thing is I try to use the firearms as much as possible. So I'll run it in diversity shoots twice a month. And if I have something I can be in and use it, it gets it out there because I'm trying to promote firearms use for regular people. You don't have to be a tactical Timmy. Every one of your guns doesn't have to be flat, dark, earth, or black. You can have a crazy paint scheme on your personal firearm because it looks good. and you can still go and take training with your local firearms instructor with your purple gun. Well, people make fun of you, but very few people out there will appreciate you being out there and go, "Hey, I never thought that I could actually, you know, pick the finish on my gun and not try to look like I'm being deployed with this equipment." Like there's different things. You can have a gun look any way you want to and then take it to training. And I think you should. You don't have to bow to some corny peer pressure. You know what I mean? Of everybody has a gun to repel borders, to fight the redcoats. You can fight the redcoats with a gun that's themed. You know, you can fight a redcoat with your Boba Fett themed AR-15. You can have your Mandalorian paint scheme on your AR and still run into the class.
All right, there's like three different ways I was going to take that one, but one is the NFA says any other weapons, and any other weapon can look like something else, and then a lot of people just assume that means like a cane or brass knuckles or what other AOWs, pens,
Mm-hmm.
belt buckles or something that shoot. But
Mm-hmm.
if you paint a gun like a Nintendo gun, or if you paint a gun like a Nerf gun, is that NFA? Is that AOW? I should say? Question mark. Without getting into a whole topic, that's one thing to take that when you start painting them, and then you know I think that the existence of them. But anyway, without getting into that one, and then the other one is uh, I mean what are you trying to say? You name nothing. Name something else that we have that we. I guess sports things like uniforms. Except for uniforms, we don't typically like things to be uniform. Or no, I guess, or but
Mm-hmm.
the same as everybody else. So, like our cars, for example, a lot of people start customizing their cars, even if their customization is to keep it as close to original as possible. That's literally a customization. That's a type of car person you are. But because there is no way to keep a car. A lot of people will make it like comfortable for them. A lot of people will make it accessible for them. A lot of people will make it maybe comfortable for their kids or safer for their kids by doing stuff with their car, right? Or like maybe easier to drive on the highway or more effective for like going through tollways. Like there's all kinds of little modifications people make to their stuff. So why wouldn't you make those modifications to firearms as well?
Mm-hmm.
But even clothing and stuff like the accessories and the way people choose to dress and stuff is all, even though we're buying the
Individualized.
same jeans, we're all wearing them different ways, kind of thing.
Yep. And but again, and it's funny because I'm gonna do me. All right. I'm gonna do what the frig I want to do for the most part. And I was in a class with a friend of mine, and he was talking to someone else, and they were like, "Yeah, Tony came. He didn't have any web gear on. He carried his mag in his back pocket." And they're like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Yeah, but industry standards, everybody else had web gear on, and this and that." I'm a civilian firearms owner. The way I'm gonna defend my home is more than likely with what's in the gun, and if I grab the mag on the way out, that I'll shove in my back pocket. And I might have my EDC gun on me if something weird goes down that happened all of a sudden, like with Stephen. What's Stephen's last name? Uh,
Williford.
yeah,
Williford.
Williford. Yeah, he ran out of the door with an AR, shoving rounds in a loose mag as he was going towards the mass shooter in his local church. Okay, cool. I have my mag already loaded, but I live in Jersey, so I'm restricted to 10 rounds. So, yeah, it would behoove me, if that's going to be my run to the sound of gunshots gun, to at least grab another mag on the way out the door, if that's my home defense firearm. If
So
I'm using my shot, go ahead.
Weston is saying he keeps his extra mag in his teeth like a 2A pirate. I was just gonna say if you do that with a 9mm mag, it's gonna squish like a Snickers bar. You gotta be careful.
Oh, yeah, rounds are going to shoot out. You might even swallow one, and who wants that?
Yep.
Who wants to lose in a gunfight and go to heaven with a 9 millimeter on your breath?
Oh my goodness, you're assuming a lot there where you're going with 9 millimeter on your breath. Let's see. So we got a real question. First time, and one of the reasons I got this new software, I'm using this new software. I'm only in it for a month. I didn't like go for the whole year yet, but I might, especially since it's looking like it works for guests and stuff. Was it any better or worse than the other stuff I've used, the other softwares I've used? It seems like
From
that
my
last
end,
was kind of a hassle. Yeah, from your side with the phone.
I did other than having that weirdness with my name, nothing. I was able to log in, pop right on. Um, it's no different. Of course, I'm not using a headset, so I'm using the speaker in the vehicle, and I hope it sounds good to everyone else. But I'm having no problem hearing you or seeing what people are typing in.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I'm type, or I can hear you loud and clear for sure. I turn your volume down. I have a volume control now and shit. It's pretty neat. So,
All right, cool.
yeah. So give us some feedback from people listening because you're the ones on the other side listening to this whole thing. But yeah, this thing is called EV Mux, and Foss, who does the shows in the middle of the night on Saturday nights, started using it, and it's a little cheaper than the last one I was using, and I can star the comments. Not only can we bring them up on the screen, but I can star the comments, and that's what I really wanted to be able to do. But as an extra bonus, we're live on Instagram, except something glitched because I probably had it sitting too long because of the figuring out what to do today. The way Instagram works on this thing is you have to open Instagram in a different window, start the thing. Instagram kind of you put a key into the streaming software like you do with some of these ones that need a key every time a live stream starts. You need to plug in a key, so it makes it a little more complicated, but it also keeps two windows open. So once Instagram recognizes that the stream is live, then you get a feed and you can see what Instagram people are saying. So what happened is that window closed, which means I don't know if it is feeding on Instagram live. Like, I don't know because I'm on the channel. I guess I could switch to my other channel and see if it's showing up. But um, normally, though, this software lets you stream to Instagram pretty simply. Pretty, I mean, as far as things, oh shit, as far as things
Oh,
go, pretty easily. Go ahead.
quick thing out there. I just rolled through. Weston had a question about GOA. Excuse me, Great American Outdoor Show being open to the public. Yes, 100%. It's an NRA show also, so you can renew your NRA membership or get an NRA membership here. Now, you'll need an NRA membership to get into the NRA show that's in Atlanta this year. And the crazy thing is, when you come to NRA shows, you can get NRA memberships at a severe discount. And to get a 1 year membership is $35. That gives you a 1 year membership. But, and I feel this is important, the time now, you can vote in the NRA if you have a 5 year membership. You don't have to have been in 5 years, but if you purchase a 5 year membership, you can be a voting member of the NRA. The NRA is making a change and is building upon getting actual Second Amendment advocates that have done Second Amendment advocacy work on the NRA board of directors. And right now they have something called a reform candidates. I posted in my social media. I'll post it again probably tomorrow morning who the candidates are. And I think it's newnra.com. They have a website that you can go and check them out. And that's who we need to get on. So I feel it's important that if you think the NRA can turn itself around, one of the ways it will be done is by people who are actually 2A advocates being on the board. So I suggest that if you believe in it, you can go ahead and if you're in this area, within a couple hours of here, you can get it almost at a 50% discount, that 5 year membership. Like a lifetime membership, I don't tell anybody what to do with their money, but it's like normally $750. It's $350 here if you get a lifetime membership to the NRA here. And that allows you to whatever other perks a lifetime membership gives you, but it also allows you to vote in the NRA election. And of course, they'll probably send some swag to your house that's made in China.
I have an unpopular opinion about that. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't think that it matters anymore. I think that what'll happen is there's nobody that's still on the position of like corrupt that have a corrupt NRA. So I think there's 26 people on the list you're talking about, and I mean ideally they'll all get elected because the membership of the NRA is more awake, as for lack of a
Hmm.
better word, to be aware of what's going on. But let's say it doesn't happen, and let's say it takes 2 more years before that happens, because the pace that there's no pace. Like everybody hates the NRA essentially. The antis hate the NRA. They always have. It's their punching bag. They've been hating the NRA since the '90s, right? GOA hates the NRA. Second Amendment Foundation hates the NRA. FPC hates the NRA. So the other organizations that make $24 million a month hate the NRA. The organizations that bring in $50 million a year, you never hear about, right? They hate the NRA. Most gun owners, I'm not going to speak for most gun owners, but you decide what you think. Every time I put up a poll, I get, the same amount of feedback, literally as if we're all walking in fucking lockstep. I shouldn't say we because I don't, but like most of the people are walking in lockstep. So, as much hatred and apathy and disinterest there is in the NRA, I don't think there's any for like a corrupt NRA. So, anyway, all I'm getting at is my unpopular opinion is Amanda, uh, Teresa,
Hmm.
Charlie, other
Yep.
people will continue. John, uh, others that I just don't know the first names,
Hmm.
will continue to do what they're doing. They'll get those positions because, again, nobody is really pro. I can't imagine. The only thing anybody could ever be is like super NRA, like same way people are Trump, like NRA, NRA. I wear my NRA hat all the time. I got like my NRA
Hmm.
belt buckle or whatever, and probably because they got some kind of a scheme going, like right, like I sit at a gun show and make NRA tables, or I do the
Hmm.
NRA dinners or something. Like maybe some of those people, they're the clingers, but they don't acquaint to nothing, and they got really few people to preach to anymore. So I really don't see any other option than the NRA gets taken over by the reform candidates or the
Hmm.
reform committee, which it will be soon. And then it won't be a reform committee. Then it'll just be, the thing is, they all work together. They all know each other from, like you said, they all have been doing this already. So what's going to happen is they're all going to sit there, get accustomed to each other, and start steering the NRA in interesting ways. And that'll just happen. And now we'll see a bunch of weird fucking backflips, like everybody going, I've always loved the NRA. What are you talking about? I've always, I mean, I've never,
Hmm.
I was always in support of the NRA. The NRA, I love the NRA. I've always been a member of the NRA. I just didn't like Wayne. I've always loved the NRA. And
Hmm.
a couple of 3 years from now, it'll just be like, oh yeah, the NRA. Oh yeah. Now, will the people that take over the NRA have the same goals and agendas as, let's say, the other three-letter organizations that only care about lawsuits? Fuck no. So I really am
Hmm.
looking forward to what the new NRA is going to do, because they're not going to, one, have any interest in being famous. I don't think. They're none of them are trying to be rich, right? So what they
Hmm.
are going to try to do is not fucking do the same fucking bullshit that the other organizations are doing. I'm not saying they're trying to get rich. I'm just saying it's easy for them to do lawsuits because that's all they got to fucking do, and that's all they ever
Hmm.
except for a couple of other things they branch out to. Very few of them are doing any actual work, but the reform candidates at the NRA are the people that have either done actual interesting work, like Amanda's fashion shows and shit, like,
Hmm.
reaching out in directions, um,
Hmm.
or willing to, like John Richardson, who's aware of all the different things that people have done. So I really see the NRA starting to fund some of the things like you and Derek, right? And
Yep.
stuff like Kids for Kings, right? Like I see NRA's money going towards things like that, and uh, seeing maybe some collaborations with uh, um, NAGA, right? Like
Yep.
places that are being misrepresented by the fucking, is that the right word? Like basically ignored by the other organizations at a national level that can only see lawsuits. And that's where I see like the NRA just affecting some real fucking change here in about 5 years. If I don't know, if I'm right on this, is it 3 years, 5 years? I don't think it's even longer than 5 years.
I think, okay. I mean, of course, one, I know these people. Not only do I not only know their names, I know them personally, and many I consider friends of mine that are the ones we've named. Um, I know they've done work. I have had conversations about not only the NRA, but where activism in general should go. So the more people we get on that are like that, the quicker NRA has the chance of actually becoming that 2A organization that does more than just supports lawsuits. And it will start, and this is my hope, and this is some of the things we've talked about, start attacking the antis gun position or started to be more aggressive in more than one way, not just supporting lawsuits, but
I don't
supporting
see
lawsuits.
anybody that's in the reform list of
Hmm.
people. Again, we know them. We know who these people are. I don't see any
Yeah.
of them being aggressive. So I don't think I should only see the new NRA. I see it being a supportive
That's what I
organization,
mean. As in, what I
aggressive.
meant as aggressive, as in not just doing one thing. Like Amanda, she's done the Women for Gun Rights or DC project that became Women for Gun Rights. She does her fashion show. She does her podcast. She's multi-level with her activism, and I don't see why that would change when she's working with the NRA, not telling them just to do one thing, but to do multiple levels of advocacy, not just, oh, we're going to support lawsuits. No, no, we're going to support lawsuits. We're going to support other organizations that are in the 2A sphere. I think her term was the Olympic rings. I think that's where I first heard it. That advocacy here and advocacy here and advocacy, it all ties together in one thing of pro Second Amendment advocacy. But me, I'm doing my thing. Mr. Smith, Phil Smith, with his organization. What's the name of it? Because I'm skipping right now.
NAGA.
Mag MAGA
No.
NAGA
NAGA.
NAGA NAA, yeah, North, was it African? What the
North,
fudge?
North,
What is it?
National African American uh,
Gun Club, Gun Association.
Gun
Yeah,
Association. Yeah. I was going to say
yeah,
Rifle Association, but he probably didn't want to do rifle because of
yeah.
probably stupid NRA. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So Phil with his thing, Maj with his thing, me with mine, Kevin Dixie with his. I mean, these are just black men I know. Then we have females, ladies who are black, who are Hispanic, who run different groups. We need to fund it all those different groups to push. When I say aggressive, I mean as in support others that are already out there doing the work. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just support the people that are already out there punching. Get us on podcasts. Get us in. Well, even though magazines are kind of dead, it's still good to be interviewed and have your picture and point of view in the magazine since you're sending them out every month anyway.
Well,
NRA
NRA's typically,
magazines.
or historically, NRA has used like Colin Noir, and I don't know who those other people were, but like I think people from radio shows or maybe like CNN or some stupid shit. Like I don't know who those people were, but they were
Hmm.
Republicans, right? Like some kind of super fancy Republicans or superstar Republicans from TV news or something. And they held
Hmm.
that, remember, like at NRA show or something, or I mean, a shot show or something, they'd have like big banners up. Like we knew who these, I only knew Colion
Hmm.
Noir from YouTube. I didn't know who the other people were. Dana Loesch, who the hell is that? Is she from the
Yeah,
news? Like, I don't know who she is. Like a blogger
I
or
mean, I
something.
didn't know who she was until they were Dana Loesch and Dana Loesch. I don't know where she's famous. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
don't.
my ignorance. I'm not saying it like I'm poo pooing on her. I'm not her demographic, whatever the hell it is, because I didn't know who she was and what she did before
But
NRA.
that was telling us what NRA was focused on. That was like some kind of Republican news thing. And
Yeah. Okay.
hopefully, well, I know that the new NRA board is not at all any of that. Like nobody that I know on that board gives a shit about Republican news of the day or like what's that called? Partisan bickering and all that
Yeah.
shit. They want to do awareness, education, end the conversation through awareness. Like, hey, here's the deal. They've been demonizing gun owners. Gun owners are not what they say. Here's what gun owners actually are. How about everybody leaves everybody alone? How about we solve suicide issues? How about we
Hmm.
solve this and that, and then we're done. So uh, anyway, so I just see and then I was going to say also I'd like to see NRA. They've championed. I mean, they were literally created to do civilian marksmanship.
Hmm.
The
Uh-huh.
National Rifle Association is all about that. They've done other things over the years, like hunting and active awareness, I guess, um, due to necessity, and they happen to be the biggest thing entity in the realm, so they took it on. But um, and they've not necessarily won at it. They did really good for a while, but haven't necessarily succeeded at all of it, right?
Yeah, in the sweeping of place.
But they definitely kept shooting, sports shooting, as a wing or like an arm of the NRA,
Yep.
and they do long distance stuff. They do military stuff. They do a lot of kids stuff and school stuff and
Mm-hmm.
Olympic stuff. And what I'd like to see is include steel and CCW type training. So like IPSC and IDPA, I'd like to see NRA incorporate into those to the point where they become more normalized and people don't see, well, it's just so people understand that, like, the same way the Olympics has shooting in it and hunting has shooting and blah blah blah, like defensive shooting is a recreational, is a necessity, it's a practical, it's like a part of shooting. And I'd like to see the NRA help normalize that by including the steel sports and the backup gun sports and things like that, three gun sports. I don't know if they will or not. They never said anything about it. But I'm just, since we're sitting here with a wish list for NRA to what they're going to do, I'd like to see them help with that.
100%. I want to see NRA be multifaceted. I want to see NRA help in normalize firearms ownership. I don't want to see an NRA spending millions of dollars on some dude's ego. All
And
right.
they're not going to. That's what I'm saying. There's no way it could happen. John Richardson's not going to ever vote for that. Amanda's never going to vote for that. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, people can bitch and moan about the NRA all they wanted, but they're bitching and moaning about the past. Wayne's gone. The only people that gave a shit about Wayne are gone. And the only other people left are either getting sued or, grasping by, it's hardly even grasping by straws. I mean, I don't know the whole situation, but what
Mm-hmm.
could they, there's no momentum for them. Everybody fucking hates them. I already went through everybody that hates them. Like,
Yeah.
literally everybody hates the NRA. So
You've
it's an
effed this
empty
up
shell.
so
A
bad.
bunch of people. It's just that nobody threw Molotov cocktails at it. The other side tried, but they just threw Molotov cocktails at the side of a battleship. But Amanda
Yeah.
and John and Charlie and others
Charlie.
just
Yep.
walked on board and are taking it over. So it might take them a
Right.
year or two, but I don't even think it'll take them
And
2
again,
years. I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of them gets elected because people are aware of the
well,
deal now. Nobody's voting for the
Amanda's.
other guys.
Let's go ahead and beat you. Amanda's already there. Amanda's on the board already, so I don't even think she's running this time, right? I mean,
No, because it's staggered. You're right. She's not even
yeah.
on the ticket.
So she's on. Rick Actor, he's on. Anthony Calandro, he's on. So these are all people that have a history of Second Amendment advocacy already, and they're trying to change the NRA. And now we have another group of people, Teresa Einacker. She's a Second Amendment advocate from Jersey, whom I've worked with. We have John Richardson, who's a friend
And
of
a
mine
lawyer,
through
right?
podcasting. What was that?
She's she's a lawyer, right, Teresa?
Yes, yes, she's actually a lawyer and can argue in front of the Supreme Court. And if you follow again Teresa Einacker on Twitter, dude, she just throws jabs and punches at New Jersey Governor, New Jersey Attorney General, Shannon Watts. Whenever she raises her little corny head, what's the name? Starts with a G. Giffords, the Giffords. Like she makes good points as a lawyer in a smart way. Why do I bring this up? Because when you take some stuff, if you're wondering where does she stand, go into her Twitter account. You can actually see where she stand, where she stood for years. Go back as far as possible, and you can see actually what she's saying and what she said in her position. Especially when you're going, should I vote for this person for the NRA board? Well, this is the body of work she did because it's on her Twitter, and this is her opinion because it's on her Twitter. So I suggest you look at her there. I suggest you look at John there. Now, hasn't, Charlie Brown, who is the owner of one of the owners of High Point, he, of course, is running the business. You know he's pro gun. His statements have been pro gun, and the reason that High Points meet the price point The reason High Points have a 10-round magazine and the reason most of them look the way they do is because he wanted to create a firearm that was 50 state legal in the middle of the assault weapons ban. And he wanted to stay, so he didn't make it take Glock mags. He didn't do any of that. He had the mold to make this thing 50 state legal, and he created a gun for it so people could have firearms. How do I know? Because the first time I met Charlie was at this very show 8, 9 years ago, and we actually had this discussion, and I didn't know who he was. And he just knew me as a dude that was talking about a high point pistol that I bought. This was a conversation just between two guys. He didn't know what podcast I was on. You know what I mean? He didn't know I was a reviewer. He didn't know I ran the second inch for everyone. I was just talking about the pistol. And then we ended up talking about the NRA and why, after I found out who he was, like owner of the business, and we were talking about high points and the 10-round cap. And he was like, and at that time, Jersey had a 15-round magazine limitation. And he said 10 rounds gets every state. That's why I have the 10 rounds. He said you can buy aftermarket magazines that aren't high point mags and you can get more than 10 rounds. But we wanted to be able to sell these and make them at such a price point because of volume that people could afford it. So that's where he stands on the Second Amendment. But as an account, he's not going to put that on, High Point's official Twitter account or any other official social media because he's still a business. And you might turn some people off and lose some customers, especially in blue states. But you sell them guns anyway. And then, you leave it up to activists like myself and others to get them to vote for their gun rights. But at least you gave them ability to be firearms owners in places where they can't own an AR-15 or owning an AR-15. Where are you going to go to the range in certain cities? I mean, until Miss Rhonda Ezel jumped dead in Chicago. Yeah, until Rhonda went after Chicago, they didn't even
Twice.
have an indoor range to go to. And then some indoor
Well,
ranges,
twice,
especially in cities. What was
and they
that?
still don't have one. I was saying
It, they
she
still don't have
went,
one.
took them to the Supreme Court, won, took them to the Supreme Court again, won, and they still don't have one. And none of the national level organizations that bring in millions of dollars can facilitate that? Question mark. Like
Nope,
you would think they'd be rushing to make that happen and put their name at the top of it. You'd think the one that makes $24 million a month would, since it's
nope,
like in an adjoining state.
nope. Understand that some of these people, organizations are in the business to make money first and foremost, and they need to keep this going on. Oh, Tony, why don't you use names and name names? Nope, you need to pay attention to see what's going on. I'm not being a jerk off, but look for yourself. That way, no one's telling you something. That way, you've looked it up and you've seen it from. My thing is this: when I ask people to do their homework, hey Tony, why don't you like Springfield Armory? Well, because in 2016, and I can give you the rundown why I don't trust Springfield Armory as a company. And you'll take that in and probably pay as much attention to it as it took me to tell it to you, and you just may forget it. And it may just sound blah 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 after about 30 seconds of me explaining it, and it's in one ear and out the other. When I tell you to look it up, you put some effort into it to look up what happened with Springfield in 2016. You can form your own opinion, but at least you put work in, and you may remember why it's a controversy in a conversation a week from now. You might not remember that if I tell it to you. That's why I tell people look it up and form your own opinion, but put some work in. Put some skin in the game. Look for stuff, and at least let your fingers do the walking. Let your little Google do the walking, and you might pick up why behind something,
You
and it may
think that
stick in your head more.
one, there's, I mean, what would there be? There'd have to be, I guess, some articles. Those
Mm-hmm.
articles would probably be on blogs or forums
Mm-hmm.
or news magazines that are in the gun related realm. Maybe
Yeah.
every once in a while in the outside the gun realm. But that would be, like you said, since 2016, that's 9 years ago. That would be
Yep.
dependent on that organization or entity still being in business. And I don't know what the life
Or
cycle is of things, but just like anything in the world, like restaurants or clothing styles or whatever, like, things have these lifespans. So I think
so
we're at risk to some extent of that by not talking about these things once in a while so that they come up as blips on the radar more often than just at the time of, conception or whatever. And then,
well, I'll tell you how to do it, how to look it up. All right. Firearms Radio Network, Gun and Gear Review Podcast, my podcast. Almost any time we talk about a Springfield product, I bring up what they did in 2016. All right.
yep.
I go into every one of them almost every time. I don't think there's one time that I don't bring it up whenever we talk about a Springfield product. Also, you're going to have to look at podcasts that were out then that still have a presence on YouTube, like John Patton's Gun Collective. He was doing podcasts then. I mean, we can go all the way back to when they were doing Google Hangouts. That should probably still be available. But you will have to get specific. And the cool thing about diving into a rabbit hole is, again, you'll learn stuff as you go along. And yeah, you will find blogs and you will find small conversations. But hey, put in some work to learn don't be a goldfish about every damn thing. Don't act as if somehow, well, it only happened since I've been involved. No, there's been a history of firearms companies stabbing us in the back as Second Amendment advocacy, not supporting us, goes way back. I mean, you could talk about Ruger back in the day. You could talk about Smith and Wesson back in the day, and then by back in the day, I mean the '80s and the '90s. Nothing is new. There are companies that holy crap. This is a whole nother Hey, remember the brassiere top that Madonna had on back in the day? Like that brassiere court, what do you call them? Starts with a C.
Uh,
Corset?
I mean, I,
Yeah, this guy, his wife and his two daughters just got out of the vehicle, and that's all the girl is wearing. They're throwing salt in the lot because of the ice storm that's coming. This child is walking outside, and it's 32 degrees. 32 degrees, and all she has is a corset top and jeans on. That's insane. Anyway, yeah.
people that
So
have
what
never
I'm talking.
gotten their car stuck before, like never had car problems.
Mm-hmm. That's everything's fine as long as all you're doing is walking in from a parking lot. What happens if, again, they're throwing down ice because there's going to be icy roads in a couple hours here? You slide off the road into a ditch and your car stalls out. You have no warm clothes on. You're suffering from a frostbite in a vehicle in the wintertime when you could have dressed appropriately. But anyway, the
I
reason I
just got
want to
done
throw it out
watching
there.
like a movie, like End of the World type of thing, where a bomb
Mm-hmm.
goes off in L.A. and then the rest of the country is, kind of living through the aftermath of it, and that kind of thing. You just never know. It doesn't have to be as
Mm-hmm.
catastrophic as a nuclear bomb, but yeah,
Mm-mm.
you never know when something crazy happens, and all of a sudden you got to do like, oh, I got to go to a hotel right now. I can't go home.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things I tell everything doesn't have to be cataclysmic, and somehow that makes it sexy, especially in the firearms community. What happens without the rule of law? Without the rule of law could happen because of flooding, or without the rule of law could happen in your general area if there's a big enough car accident and it shuts down and takes up the local law enforcement, fire department, and ambulances. But it doesn't make a difference to you if someone's breaking into your house. It's kind of sort of, oh, well, we have no one available, ma'am. That's for you without the rule of law. Have you prepared in any way for this? Or is your whole safety protocol and your self defense plan? Well, call 911 and pick up this golf club and hide in the closet. That's your only plan? Then you're going to be in trouble if all of a sudden we have without rule of law for longer than 20 minutes. If you don't scare them off from breaking into your home because law enforcement won't be there.
Dude,
So,
I was minding my business last night, and I was about to dig into doing a whole bunch of charity work for a bunch of orphans and nuns, and all my power went out. And I was like, "What the heck?" I thought, my house is pretty old. I figured, "Uh oh, what happened?" But literally everything in the whole house, power went out like in a blink. And it's kind of weird. I don't know, because I'm using a laptop and a lot of things jump because they're on battery. Like some things that are plugged in just jump to life, but everything else is off, right? So it takes a second to realize all that. Figure out that the whole house is out though. I go outside and like everybody's houses is out, right? And it's weird because I live on sort of a slope and I can see that in the distance there's light, so it's not like a end of the
Hmm.
world. But this, long story short, 4,000 people, the lights go out for big sections of the town here, and so I go on with the phone because we still have cell power and the phone still had juice. So I went on to the electric company website and found out that they're like they have a place for that situation or when that happens to people. That kind of is an update page or whatever. And yeah, like I mean, I'm guessing just because of they didn't really say, but I'm guessing how it kind of looked on the map, that maybe somebody ran into something, or maybe they were
Hmm.
doing work at night and somebody cut the wrong cable, and then that affected this like section of town through the way that the river is and stuff. I could just see how maybe if you cut this line, like this would be the result. And I'm sure it takes them some amount of time to figure that out and then to reroute or whatever they do. But yeah, you can't account for that. And sometimes I know I remember a time when there's giant gas cables or whatever they call them, gas pipelines that go through Tucson.
Hmm.
I guess all the way from Texas to California. Do you know that there's like massive pipelines? And
Hmm.
like one of those broke one time underneath the town, underneath the house, or behind some houses, kind of. And did it catch fire? But they were scared it was going to catch fire, so everybody got evacuated. And unless you really, really, really pay attention when you're moving or something, how would you know something like that is a potentiality?
Exactly. We've had trains derail moving toxic stuff, and they had to evacuate. That's right in your town. All of a sudden, they're evacuating. What's your plan? What do you have? Do you have cash? How do you stay in a hotel? Who puts you up? Who puts you up until this crisis is over? Do you have food, clothing? What if you can't get back home? I'm not saying you need to have a get home bag, but do you have something if, hey man, they had a horrible thing, train derail, they shut down the part of town you live in. Nothing's happened to your house. You just can't get to it right now. And it's going to take 3 days for it to clean up. Do you have anything? And I don't think it's paranoid. I don't think you need to, I need 7 days of food and 7 days of water. But do you have a couple changes of clothes? Do you have a little anything? And also, do you have a way to defend yourself if it lasts 3 days? But again, you don't have, I mean, Superdome. Nobody talks about the horrors of the Superdome during Hurricane Katrina. I haven't found any larger write up. And the reason I know that there was rampant crime is because every now and again you'll hear about it. But my friend was there. He was one of the National Guardsmen that was there. And it got so bad in there that they would just drop food off and leave because they had gangs, they had violence, and it had turned into almost a Mad Max kind of scenario inside the Superdome with attacks against people, with sexual assault, all that happened. But that's a story that would make everyone look bad, so everybody officially shuts up about it.
Woods was asking, I'm going to switch gears. Woods was asking if we solved 2A yet. And I was going to say, yeah, we have. So I decided to, let me make this bigger. We still all in here? Do a poll over on the YouTube side. Does this make it bigger? Let's find out. Oh, it does make it bigger.
All right,
Best
cool.
cake. Best cake. And you can comment on why if you want. But the options are chocolate layer cake. You got your pineapple upside down cake, your carrot cake, and your cheesecake. So before we get into the actual results, so to give the people that are watching live an opportunity to vote, either go over and vote. I guess I'll drop the link here if you want, But you can also just comment with what your vote is. But Tony, what it's a kind of a tough question when I started putting this poll together. What four cakes would you have chosen to do a best cake poll?
I think you did a pretty good job spreading the different kind of cakes
I feel
because
like
one of the
pineapple and carrot cake were kind of similar. I could have probably done something else, but they all got like into tres leches or
nah
into birth,
well
wedding cake or something. Like they got into a realm that got
nah
pretty different.
because wedding cake is weird and it can be anything. Now I think one cake you left off or that could have been included is yellow cake, just plain as Duncan Hines yellow cake would regular like vanilla frosting, like
Yeah,
the most. Uh, Most people go, oh, it's just plain. No, it's basic. It's one of those things that it has to be good because it's so basic, and the ingredients have to pop.
and it's not like gooping it up. Like pretty much all of these can offend somebody somehow, but
Hmm
the vanilla is a little less of that, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna order cheese pizza for the party because very few people disagree with cheese pizza. Everybody from vegetarians, to just was it kosher? No, maybe not kosher. Well, some kosher can actually eat it. Depends, because I've had this conversation over the pizzas at the diversity share.
But yeah,
That's
exactly. It's
why we
like a
do.
good. It's like a good second. Everybody will be like, "I'll settle for that. If I can't get what
Yeah.
I want, I'll take cheese." Yeah,
hmm I mean, and that's where my thing comes from. So yeah, that's that white cake, that cool, maybe one level, maybe two, that plain vanilla Duncan Hines sheet cake. It could be that, or it could be a homemade version. That's probably going to be even better. But you know what I'm
definitely. So one of the things that didn't help
saying.
me at all last year, I've ended my relationship with the bakery where I was going, but they would put out on the like let's say what is today? Today is the 8th. So today, if I went over to this place, they would have stuff that says good until the 9th, but they would put it over on the half price pile. So it's still perfectly good, but it's half
hmm
price because it's getting a
hmm
little bit on the other side, on the long in the tooth. But for me, I'm okay with a cake that's on the long end of the tooth, right? I mean, I don't
hmm
mind a fresh cake, but I don't care if a cake has got a little bit of, getting a little bit of body to it or whatever that is when it's getting a little dry. But they made a vanilla cake that was not helping me at all because it was white cake with the vanilla, and that frosting was crazy good, crazy good.
hmm
So yeah, I almost put a vanilla on here, but I figured it was just too opposite, chocolate and vanilla. I figured, you know,
Uh, but see, chocolate cake and all of these cakes are like, in this way. You can have a decadent, delicious chocolate cake,
yeah,
and that takes up a good part of chocolate cake world. Like it's harder, in my opinion, to screw up chocolate cake. But when you screw up chocolate cake, you really screw up chocolate cake.
yeah, it could be bad.
Yeah. Pineapple upside down cake. I haven't really met anybody that, and this is military speaking, right? Where they mess up steak, they mess up lobster, they mess up scrambled eggs, and even they have a hard time messing up pineapple upside down cake. It's one of the harder ones because it's already moist. You know what I mean? You can't, shouldn't be able to have dry. Carrot cake, it could be good carrot cake or it could be chemically
Oh my
tasting
goodness. Yep, I
carrot
know
cake,
exactly
like
what you mean.
horrible. It's like, oh, what is that? No.
And are
And
you a fan
cheesecake,
of the pulp carrot cake where there's like, like eating orange juice with pulp where there's pulp carrots in it? Or there's other carrot cake where people like almost blend it?
yeah, I like them both. I really do. I like them both. It's like, oh, cool. I have actual pieces of carrot in this carrot cake, and I'm kind of liking this.
It's not
Because
bad.
again,
My dilemma with carrot cake is I hate
mm,
cheesecake frosting. Like I do not like it at all.
okay.
So I like carrot cake quite a bit. My grandpa made it a lot, and I really
Mm-hmm.
got a good. It's like zucchini bread to me. Like I guess it's the same
Yep.
thing, really. But I really don't like. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's I just don't like it. And they almost always put it on there, so I almost never order it. But if I'm making
Gotcha.
it, then, or if I can get it plain, then heck yeah, I'm getting carrot cake. I kind of like it.
Heck yeah. And cheesecake, bruh. I live in Jersey, so I've had New York cheesecake, New York style cheesecake, over at one of the most famous places for cheesecake, which is Junior's in Brooklyn. And I have cheesecake because I was born and raised in Virginia, so it's the soft, like mushy, not mushy, but more velvety, more almost like a creamy cheesecake. And I like that better than that harder, drier New York cheesecake. The 9 millimeter of cake. The 9 millimeter of cake. Start, ugh, tasty cake. Ugh, oh my God. Ugh.
Well, I'm going to go through them in order here. But so and we're getting some answers in here. Let's see. I can do without cheesecake pretty easily, but the other three are tough. It's from Weston. Wood said that. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, Wood said cheesecake isn't a cake. I had somebody else say that cheesecake has a crust, so it's a pie. And I can understand that. And I do think pies are lesser than cakes. I know I've had other opinions out there. I think uh, DJ is a pie versus pie over cake. In the general scheme of things, are you a pie or cake?
I'm
All
fat.
things considered,
I'm fat. I'll hit up either one of them. Now, reason I'm kind of
I just
joking, I'm
feel
kind
like
of
you
not.
can. I always have a better. Uh, what's the word? Like I have
Now,
better luck with cake than pies. Pies can just be
hmm
too gross. And I like. Here's my thing. I like what my grandma made. So it
hmm
might not be good or bad or whatever, but that's what I'm used to. So if it ain't like what my grandma made, and she made her pies the way
so
she made them, so I just never bother with pies usually.
see, this is the reason I'm almost that dessert agnostic, because growing up Baptist in the South, we'd have homecomings and we have food at church. I think third Sundays. You'd make both, so you had an opportunity to have both cake and pie equally.
And then you could
And
have a
if it,
feeling for one or the other or what you felt like. Yeah.
yeah, we could actually have both, because they would, especially for kids. You know, give you a small piece of cake, they give you a small slice of pie. You could have both, and you can enjoy both. Now, the pies we mostly had down south were sweet potato, and we had sweet potato pies. And this is me going from memory, just as you know, from all the churches and we went to, and I went to a lot of them growing up. Sweet potato, pecan, and sometime cherry. Apple wasn't a big one, at least where I was. And then for cake, we'd have chocolate cakes or we have vanilla cake. Sometimes we had 7 Up cake. Look it up. It's one of those things that was big in the 70s and 80s. And it was good.
It is really
And
good.
we had
That's like a white cake,
coconut
I
cake.
guess, but it's
Hmm.
good.
And we'd have coconut cake. Mm. And coconut pies were another common one. So I grew up with that, and
Dude,
you could get
there's
them
so many
equally.
ways to get a coconut pie, like coconut with cream, and then there's coconut with chocolate, and then there's coconut with like custard maybe or something like that are pretty crazy.
Hmm. Yep. Oh, and by the way,
Chocolate.
my my favorite. Oh, yeah, chocolate pies are cool, but very few people made them because they disappeared quickly. Um, and my favorite that came and it was exotic to me as a kid, key lime pie.
I was gonna say we haven't got into the fruity flavors, but that's where cakes usually don't. You can get like strawberry stuck on a cake or something,
Hmm.
but cakes don't get really fruity really often,
Yeah.
except for maybe a lemon cake. But you definitely get more of that kind of stuff going on, and that's okay with me because I consider those to be fruits. Like if you're gonna put a bunch of apples and just wrap some crust around it, that's just eating apples. You're not really eating dessert. You're
Hmm.
eating some apples.
Hmm. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Uh,
Lemon meringue. That's one of those ones that sometimes it can be pretty chemically or factory. Maybe that's a better
hmm.
way of saying it. Like frozen,
Yep.
maybe.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't include it, because I don't remember many. Oh, one of the things my mom did was she made cakes when I was a kid as a profession. That was her what his side hustle back in the day. So I would be in on it. I would help mix the batches up or something, or help grease the pans. She would also make not only the cakes, but the little designs. I mean, Smurfs. I think I remember that one. Mickey Mouse cakes, duck cakes, and cakes with little faces on it. So my mom did that. So we were big. We had cake all over the place. You know what I mean? And not even, and then being a little fat kid, never got tired of it
Oh, you mean
because
like where you take the cake, it's round or square or whatever, but then you kind of cut
hmm
into a piece shape of a duck, and then with frosting, you make all the face and whatever, and now you got these
Yep.
like squares and circular shapes of cake laying around from the
Yep.
parts that weren't used. I know what you're talking about.
hmm Yeah, you'd have cake scraps.
Yeah.
And of course, my brother and I would just be there. Talk about a Pavlovian response. When Mama broke out the pans, clong, 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 clong. I got to make 4 cakes this weekend. We eating cake. We
Recycling.
eating cake.
That's recycling, dude. That's just helping the
hmm
environment. So
Oh, dude, me and my brother would be like, "Oh yeah, it's on. We ain't eating. We're not eating real food all weekend."
so the poll is live, and if I scroll, yeah, it's live over there. Got 98 votes so far. I put this up a day or two ago, so it's got some time on the clock. But anyway, cheesecake is winning. That's a little surprising, but to me at
hmm
least. Hold on, let me. How do I get rid of a comment there? Cheesecake is winning, 45%, which is almost half the people. But again, I stacked it up against some pretty, I'm gonna say, unique. Like these are four cakes that are not your standard chocolate cake or whatever. But chocolate cake is coming in second, carrot, and then pineapple. And I get that. I don't think that many people even like pineapple cake, and then it's not always consistent. I've had some with like caramel and stuff on it, and some that's just not. Anyway, I've had all kinds of different ones. For me, I only like it really from the days of eating it while camping. You would bring like a thing of pineapple, a can of pineapple, can of pineapple. I got the hiccup, sorry, and put them in the bottom of a Dutch oven, and then I think you just
hmm
pour cake dough on top of it, or
Yep.
cake batter on top of it, and then put it in the Dutch oven
hmm
for a while. But they came out pretty good, and the pineapples would caramelize themselves. I think I can't remember anymore. Maybe we put sugar in there or something. But anyway, I like cooking out of Dutch ovens, and when you're getting something like a cake out of a Dutch oven and it's super cold out, or just cold enough that you're enjoying the fire, it's just super cool. And it's not as messy as some of the other stuff, and you don't have to bring frosting and all that kind of stuff. So it had its place for us back in the day. But
Oh, by the way, real quick, if you want to feel some nostalgia, go to Paul Harrell's YouTube channel and pull up his Thanksgiving shows, and he would make that outside while camping over an open fire in a Dutch oven.
oh, really? Like while they're doing a live show or whatever?
He'd do the live Thanksgiving show, and he'd make well, it wasn't live, but it was recorded all in real time. And he would actually make exactly what you said along with something else, but he'd do that out in the field,
Oh,
and it was
okay, yeah,
pretty cool.
cool. I can't remember what they took, but it was one of those things where you'd start it before dinner, cook dinner, eat, and it was done.
hmm
Like, yeah, it didn't take very long. So anyway, I figured that was a cool, or a way. I don't know if it was cool or not, but it was a way to chat about something besides 2A. But we do have some real 2A questions. Oh wait, the 9 millimeter of cake. Sorry, I forgot I can star things now. So the 9 millimeter of cake. What'd you say? You picked like a one that comes in a package?
Oh yeah, like all right, because I live in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, I think Entenmann's, but I think Tasty Cake is a company called Tasty Cake, and I think all of their stuff is like, and but people that are from here are like, "Ooh, tasty cake," because it brings back whatever nostalgic childhood memory this subpar, horrible freaking confection is. But I'm not from here, so yeah, I feel like that entire brand of tasty cake is the 9 millimeter of cake. like individually packaged little vial pastries.
Yeah, I guess like you say, nostalgia. I was gonna think the same thing with like think of like a vending machine. So maybe a little bit
Hmm.
of, I guess nostalgia is the word, but I guess I was gonna say sometimes if you're stuck someplace, at least I can remember. It's been a while, knocking on wood, because I do not want to ever have to do that again. But you can imagine waiting someplace forever, and then the only thing you even got is a vending machine. So some of that stuff can be better than nothing when you're
Hmm.
just stuck someplace, or maybe traveling, same kind of thing. And a vending machine can be a thing that's open in the middle of the night, or in like on a when you're driving at like a rest area, because nothing's open in the middle of the night or something. Anyway, that
Yep.
being said, I think the 9 millimeter of cake. I guess I haven't come up with a good one for that, but I'm just gonna pick that like gross dry piece of cake that you get somewhere, and it's barely got like a smear of frosting. Like you knew there was frosting on some of the other slices, but because of the
Hmm.
way it's on there, but you got the piece where the spatula, like the guy was talking or something, and the spatula hit the cake, so you got the bare part, the bald spot, and you're like, dang it, or maybe you got a part where somebody like it collided with another piece, and that piece got all the frosting. So and it's all stale. That's the that's the one that's not so good. Although that's probably still better because you could take that cake, even if you had a piece similar to that and you forgot about it. Now it's sitting there for a number of hours. Not so it's bad or nothing, but it's just sitting there. And it's got all stale with a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or something. Thing can still be a pretty good enjoyment
Hmm.
at a time for some people. Where what's a pie going to do for you once it starts to leak and get weepy? Like you got
Well, see, that's the problem, man. Cake pies are usually smaller, and they don't get that point because everybody eats it because it's delicious. It's
Yeah,
pie.
nobody lets a pie sit around like that. You're going to let a cake
Yeah,
sit around because you know it's still going to be good. Yeah, you're not going to let a cake pie sit around. That makes such a
yeah.
good point.
Pie gets hit
Yes.
and quit it. I mean, it's like the people that have extra pie left over. Who is that? Who is that
Yeah,
lonely person?
that's an alien. That's how you know that they're not actually
Yeah,
human. Because, like,
yeah,
what the
yeah.
hell? Because exactly,
Those are
like, who's going
people.
to leave a pie sit around? Like, what are you going to do? It's going to be better later? No, like, that's one of those things you want to pretty much wail on it when it's at the opportune time. It's like fruit. So then we
Exactly.
got a real question from, I don't know what that's supposed to be, Ant, I guess. Um, Can you buy full auto micro Uzi? Random question.
No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
I mean,
there's
sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
transferable micro Uzis. There's probably not a lot because
Yeah.
there's the
Because of the
Uzi,
year.
there's the micro Uzi, and then there's the Uzi pistol. There's very few Uzi pistols, but there were a couple of micro Uzis. They just weren't very popular, and they were super new when '84 happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait, '86.
Mm-hmm.
No, '86 happened. Sorry. And so technically yes, but the kicker is try to find one for sale. Like I haven't looked in a long time. That happens to be my favorite Uzi. Except that I like Mac 10s quite a bit more. But if I was gonna go for an Uzi, it would be uh, the full auto micro. But do they make a full auto micro in 10 millimeter? That would be my pick if they make it. I don't think they do though. But anyhow,
No.
I just haven't seen one for sale and for whatever. I knew some guys that had them. They had two of them and they were identical. So there's a bunch of pictures in my places, either Instagram or websites, and maybe there was no pictures on YouTube back then. But I've got a bunch of pictures with two micro Uzis next to each other, and those were full. Wait, were they full auto? No, those were made. Those were just SBRs. But I've definitely shot some full auto ones, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best sub guns. But anyway,
Yeah.
my answer is yes,
So
but good luck, and they're going to be
yeah.
expensive.
Yes, but so again, you know where I'm at. So I'm talking to different people from the firearms industry who are actual friends of mine, and this discussion came up because we were talking about the new P7 Pro that's a clone of the HK P7 squeeze cocker from back in the day. A guy got some frames and he decided to produce a modern HKP7s with things like optic cuts and pick rail. But of course, the price is like $3,500 for these things. And we were talking about the niche market for more than anything, nostalgia guns. And there was rumor that there's a company thinking about making grease guns, M3 grease guns. And it's like, yeah, M3 grease gun, if you're making a full auto, is probably a very inexpensive thing because they're cheap guns to make. They were cheap guns to make then, as far as material, and they're probably cheap gun. That same materials are still cheap guns to make today. But if you're going to make semi-automatic versions, then it's not so cheap to make because it's not just blowback in the spring. You know what I mean? Uh, it has to be semi-automatic, and that's a lot more complex, a lot more moving parts.
Well, they're all
And we
blowback
have,
too. Like these things are all blowback full autos,
hmm
and to make them into semi is a you have to re-engineer them. Yeah, they're different.
yeah, you have to re-engineer it. Now, is it even a M3 grease gun, or is it just really an ineffective looking blowback 9 mil that's gonna look weird and have a crazy crappy trigger when I can have a 9 mil AR9? You know what I mean? That works, and it works like an AR-15, and the controls are more ergonomic because you can say whatever you want. But a M3 grease gun was a Gen 2 submachine gun. Gen 2 or Gen 3 depends on how you count it. Because I consider a Tommy gun is a Gen 1 submachine gun, first generation, and then
First,
Gen 2 is M3 grease gun, and Gen 4 is things like Uzi or MP5.
I think
Uzi
that's solid.
came out in
I don't know if I've ever
1950s.
seen anybody break it down, so I don't know if there's an official, but I think that's a good way because your first one was the Thompson.
Hmm.
That was
Hmm.
literally the first one, and then everything else was stamp metal. Because I was going to say the Sten,
Hmm.
and I don't remember what the Germans called their dumb one, but they had a dumb one too, 9 millimeter dumb.
MP40 and MP39, yeah.
Yeah, and then Um, but then, like you say, then they figured out, yeah, stab metal's neat and everything, but you fall down on it, or like somebody throws a rock at you, and now it's dented and it doesn't work anymore. So why don't we make them out of metal again? And then they
Yep.
started making them out of metal and plastic and aluminum and stuff.
And like again, you get to 1950s, you got Uzi, late 50s, and then by 60s you have the MP5, and you got more machining, more complex machining, and that's that generation. And then after the MP5, you have the Colt, 9 millimeter that our SWAT teams use, and a lot of like Delta and stuff use. But then after that, people started shooting rifle calibers out of shorter barrels, and that kind of went away. I mean, what's the modern equivalent of a submachine gun that's not somebody redoing the MP5, like full autos? B&T,
Yeah, I was going to
maybe.
say these things that are more like pistols, where they just take the dust cover and extend it into a grip, and then put a little wiry, stocky thing off of the uh, whale tail, and
Yeah,
then call it a sub gun, which is kind of cool. I'm not bitching about it; it's neat, but
yeah, but
I
it's
think
more
that's a new thing.
PDW. It's not really a sub gun. Yeah,
I guess you got a
because
good point. Yeah, it could definitely be not considered sub gun. Then I guess you're thinking, or the only thing I could think of would be the same kind of thing, but putting it into one of those chassis. Uh,
hmm yeah,
there's like three different companies or five different companies making chassis now.
like because I listen to these people. Look, the gun industry annoys the crap out of me only because I'm in it, and I think a lot of my thought process comes from a different place. Because a lot of things in life is based on perspective, and my perspective is a little different. The people I've trained are more diverse in age and background. The people I've trained are not a bunch of people that are military wannabes. Um, and nothing's wrong with that because shit, I was one. But I'm talking about as far as introducing the firearms and why they are in this space. They're not doing it because they wanted to do military stuff. Like PCCs are widely in the tactical world talk about they make no sense because if you're going to spend that amount of money have a firearm that size, why wouldn't you have a 5.56 or a rifle caliber or at least a medium caliber? Well, again, because I deal in this world where a lot of people don't want an AR looking thing. They don't want to be involved in it because it has a lot of negative connotations. Regardless of where you feel about it, this is the life that people grew up in. But having something that shoots a 9 millimeter round is less crapped upon. They can have something that looks like a Ruger PC carbine, and it doesn't look as assault rifle like. They can have something like a high point carbine. Again, doesn't look like the assault rifle they have on TV. It fires a 9 millimeter. Well, a handgun fires a 9 millimeter, so they only have to buy one caliber. It's easier to shoot because it has more points of contact. And they're shooting at indoor ranges, and some indoor ranges won't allow them to have rifle calibers. And also, it's less concussive when you're introducing people to a firearm. And it shoots a 9 millimeter round out of a 16-inch barrel. There's less concussive force than shooting a 5.56 out of a 16-inch barrel. So it has a place with me at diversity shoots, and it has a place introducing people to firearms, especially if you live in a freer state that allows you to shoot suppress things like 45 that are subsonic. So you having somebody shooting a 45 caliber PCC with a suppressor on it and a red dot, you've taken so many things away that scares and complicates shooting guns, from sight alignment, sight picture with the red dot, which means you put the dot on the target, pull the trigger, to the concussive, to the kick, to the feel of it, to the loudness, all contribute to how they perceive recoil. You take all that away, so that's reasons why PCCs have an advantage, in my opinion. And also, people always, when they have the PCC conversation, totally leave pistol caliber lever actions out, and I add those in all the time. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get another one from Henry. They're giving me the updated Big Boy Steel that uses a Kingsgate side loading gate, mainly because I have the old school one, and trying to tell people to be safe with firearms as I'm opening the bolt, unscrewing the tube at the top, and putting my hand in front of the barrel so I could drop the 357 rounds down the tube and then close it back. May be a little confused. Why are you doing that? But they told us not to do that in every other port except this one. So I'm gonna, maybe when I get this Big Boy Steel, retire the tube fed one to my own personal use, and put the Kingsgate one on the floor so people can go, hey, you have a very good pistol caliber carbine that can take 38s and 357 magnums, and they're still a good defensive firearm if you learn to run your gun. Especially now that they can come with Picatinny rails and you can actually put a flashlight and a sling on your home defense lever action in a state like New Jersey where they poo poo everything. And one of the fears that people have is actually being convicted, even in a good, or being came at by prosecutors with political agendas, even doing a good defensive shoot, or any situation where they try to take your guns and pretend you're some kind of crazy person. When you have a lever action, that kind of takes the wind out of their sails.
That's something that I'm going to keep pointing at the people making $24 million a month, but somebody who's in the realm of the industry that's more like in the defensive gun use part of the industry, right? So maybe the gun stuff, maybe the tactics like training,
Hmm.
maybe something like the insurance or whatever, but some realm over there to do some actual research. I mean, I imagine John Lott may have already done something like this, but he usually does stuff that's more about rights than
Hmm.
just, I don't know what you'd call this, like facts. But to do some kind of research to do, what do they call them? Like gun uh, wives' tales or whatever. I don't know
Okay,
if they're even
yeah.
wives' tales, but the idea of like, um, don't rack your shotgun or racking your shotgun's going to scare people, or don't rack your shotgun because you're giving your position away. Like, which one's actually the thing? Like, writing something
Hmm.
dumbass on your gun or not writing something dumbass on your gun? Does it really matter? Like,
Does it
are
really
there
matter?
situations where
So
attorneys?
the only one I know that did something like that was James Reeves. James Reeves from TFB. James Reeves is a lawyer. He has his own channel, and one of the things he
Oh,
answered,
I didn't know he's a lawyer.
yeah, James is a lawyer down in Louisiana and Florida. He has license to practice in those two states.
Hmm.
Um, he was talking about the not the racking of, but the perception of the firearm you use in self-defense, and he actually went through real cases, and it was showing the difference between when you used an AR-15 for self-defense, and these were actual cases in the results, and when you used another firearm but it wasn't an AR. And yeah, the perception of, by again, the jury of your peers, is that the AR, you're looking for trouble more. They looked at it as you were being, you're not looked at as the same. You're being like someone who was looking for trouble, which is weird because it shouldn't matter. A good shoot's a good shoot. And I was home defending myself, and it makes no difference in my mind if you defend yourself with a blunderbuss or you defend yourself with a friggin', you know, Daniel defense. But I'm
But that's
probably
the kind
not
of
going to be
stuff
on
where I
YouTube.
would be interested, to like see somebody, if it's because it's got to be better and easier with AI, AI robots to do the actual, I don't know if it's legwork, but
Research.
research work. Yeah. Anyway, so earlier, so I'm going back and hitting the things that I had starred. Can you star stuff?
I didn't even know. I didn't want to mess anything up because I'm on the phone in the parking lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. There's when I hover over the comments, like if I go to the comments thing and hover over
Hmm.
them, I get a little star that I can click on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and seeing. So if I launch a cruise missile or something, know that I was just playing with this.
But anyway, before I'm just clearing out the stars, Weston had asked if the uh, Great American Outdoor Show is open to the public. You said the answer, but I figure let's hit it again.
Yes, 100%. All you have to do is pay at the door and get in.
And I was gonna, I
Uh,
don't know if I said it before. I think I was thinking of it, but we kind of moved on. But I've seen some pictures. I don't know if they were yours because there's a bunch of people there. But it's a giant, physically a giant building. Like it's a giant place, and it's a
it's
big
24
event
acres under.
in
It's 24 acres. 24 acres under one roof, bro.
Really? So I'm curious now to know what Tulsa is. I didn't put that in the I didn't put that in the where I
I'm
have that.
sorry, I said that incorrectly. It's the farm complex is 24 acres, and they're in multiple buildings, but all of them are connected. All right. I don't know if that's different than under one roof, but they're all
Well,
connected
under
through
roofs
hallways.
though. Yeah,
Yeah,
under
yeah.
roof.
So it's no, you don't leave one building to go into another building outside. You never leave that way. So it's all under roofs.
I'm just wondering. I don't think I've ever. I know I did it with some of the ranges because the ranges have size, like acres. But I don't
Uh-huh.
think I've. I know I did it with Wanamaker, and that's what I'm looking to see if I can find my Wanamaker stuff. What the hell was that? Is there a cat in here? Shit. Something's falling over. It sounds like there's a cat in here. Um, the Wanamaker's the biggest building I've been in. Well, I don't know. Probably Shot Show, actually. You know what the. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
what the size of the Shot Show building is?
Mm-mm. No, I don't, because I'm sure it's one of those facts that are inside the media room on the walls.
Here we go. 11 acres. So how many acres you say it was? 22?
24.
Yeah, okay. So it's quite a bit bigger than Wanamaker. And Wanamaker is one building. So that's 11 acres in one building. And I don't think anyone said it's the biggest building in the world or anything. It's just the biggest building in Oklahoma. But
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, so um, what I was going to say is it's a big event, right, in general, but then it's also open to the public. And everybody's always bitching and moaning when we talk about SHOT Show. I like to share SHOT Show because I don't think the industry and what we do in the industry is um, secret, or like, oh, you got to be this tall to get in, or
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's just for us because we're rich and famous or whatever, or any of that shit. Was it gatekeeping? I guess. Like, SHOT Show is neat because it adapted to us as what do we call it? Like just regular media, like non-professional
Yeah.
media, and it
New
caters to
media.
us, and it likes us, and it pays us. Fucking it pays us. Like literally it pays us. Like what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
And it supports things, and it's like it's super willing and able. It just isn't always aware, right? Like it's definitely, like I say, willing. It's definitely able, sometimes more than others. It just doesn't always know what it needs to do, but that's can be fixed. Again, national level organizations fill in the gap here. What are you, stupid? Like it's just go. You don't have to have the money. You don't have to use your precious millions of dollars. You can facilitate the industry, though. But anyway, the industry continues to get duped, but here and there. Um, but the thing is, SHOT Show is for gun shops. It's really, that's what it's there for. We as
Mm-hmm.
media often, again, personalize it and go, look at these selfies, look at who I'm meeting, and look at what I'm doing at SHOT Show. We're 2,600 people out of 60,000. The 60,000 people are the vendors and the gun shows, or the gun shops. And those gun
Mm-hmm.
shops are seeing the products that they want to carry or not. And they're talking to
Mm-hmm.
the people at this show. Because here's what it is: you go, hey, I got a gun shop, and I don't know what the numbers are anymore, but let's say I move $1 million worth of stuff. I think that's a pretty small shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I move $1 million a year. They're going to go, okay, well, I'm also talking to a gun shop that moves $24 million a year. So
Mm-hmm.
they're going to get all the optics, and you're going to get some scope mounts. And then they
Mm-hmm.
go, dang it, what can I do to get an optic? And they go, well, maybe you got to buy like 6 of these stupid 9 millimeters that nobody wants and we're trying to pass off because they suck. And then they'll go, damn it, all right, I'll get them and I'll act like they're so good. I'll pay some YouTuber to say they're so good, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll get rid of them. I'll pass them off to some sucker. But then I'll get that one optic I want for that cool dude who wants a good optic. And then like all that kind of stuff gets done at SHOT Show. And that's what's happening like in all those scenes when you see those millions of people behind people taking selfies there. But the Great American Show, it's in Pennsylvania, so it's not like
Mm-hmm.
it's going to Vegas or anything. So there is that element. But that being said, it's bigger, and it's all about the companies are there to show stuff to you. And it's not like
Customer
the
base,
NRA show.
baby.
You,
Yep.
you, you were talking about the NRA show, which is the
Mm-hmm.
NRA. Actually, it's called the NRA annual meetings and exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really because the NRA is a membership organization, and that's when the members get together and try to keep the NRA in line. And there has been
Mm-hmm.
years like 1977 where that happened. And now, what, 2000 and I don't know if it was 18 or 19. I think it was 19. Pincus and them showed up, and all the
Mm-hmm.
people that were taking selfies in the big ass room ignored the empty
Mm-hmm.
seats in that room when we could have taken Wayne out 2 or 3 years, 4 years, a year before the bullshit, right? Imagine NRA
Yep.
changing before the bullshit and what
In
that could have created.
2019.
Yeah,
In
and we got
2019, when
got
that
the
was
safe communities bullshit, bipartisan Republican backed gun control that we got as a result of the NRA falling
mm-hmm.
apart. But anyway, so that's the actual meetings. And then they also make a big show of it because they want to distract everybody from the meetings. They don't want you to go into that meeting room. They want you to go into that other room where all the stuff show and tell is. But anyway, and I'm not bitching about NRA show. It is what it is, except when Ted Nugent tried to sort of muscle you out of the way. It's a pretty fun show, but it's crowded is all. And I think the Great American Show is the everything that the NRA show is minus the annual meeting part. So there's nothing there that's the meeting or anything to do with NRA really, other than they promote it. It's just a massive fair show, and like I say, all those manufacturers are there to hang out with you, and they're there for 2 whole weekends. Like that's unheard of. So I think that
Yep.
that's an unsung event, and I think it's just because a lot of people don't want to go to it because they went to SHOT and they can't afford to go to both,
Hold on,
and
hold on, hold
not
on, no,
that
no,
many
no,
people
no.
go to it.
Oh, you mean, okay, yeah. Firearms media. Here's the problem. All right. All my F's get on my nerves. Everybody's and look, I went to shot. Understand, my first shot show was over advocacy. I was invited out to speak on stage about 2A advocacy. While I was there, why not approach the firearms industry itself and ask to help fund what we do? So, but yes, as a gun dude, as a gun nerd, as a gun geek, going to SHOT Show is an awesome thing. Now, as someone that has a YouTube channel with firearms content, if I'd never gone to SHOT Show, get the frig to the end. This thing over here held every year for 9 effing days. If you want to create firearms content showing new guns, because it's only a week after SHOT Show or 2 weeks after SHOT Show. So all that shot stuff is starting to die down, and most people are just making compilation videos now. So no one has new stuff. Two, the question people have about stuff, read other people's comments. So you can come here and people like, yeah, I mean, it's great you showed me the Mossberg 940 Pro, but what about that Mossberg M2C pistol that I see coming out? Nobody made a video about that. Well, guess what? It's here right now. 9 freaking days. And if you're within a few hours, dude, come. Come during the week. Take a day off during the week. Come here on a Wednesday. Shoot your video content when there are less people, more locals on the Wednesday and the Thursday, and then go home over the weekend. Yeah, you burned up 2 days, but you should have enough content from, I'll tell you who's here right now. You got Savage and Sig and Taurus and Smith and Wesson all within 7 car lengths of each other with all their new stuff laid out. And 4 steps away, you got Ruger's booth. And that's in one corner, and then you step a little further away. Like if you stand in the right spot, you can see Ruger, Walther, Smith and Wesson, Sig, and Taurus all in the same eye shot.
Is
And they're
is Miss
easy to
Glock
hit.
there?
Miss Glock's second cousin twice removed wouldn't be seen here. So no.
Oh, okay.
But those are some of the ones you can go online and see who's here. But if you're a content creator that go, hey man, I'll never get to Vegas. Truthfully, there's enough content coming out of Vegas that you could be the dude that just shows up and you rule the friggin' Great American Outdoor Show. Like that, forget shot. Shot has everybody goes, ooh, I need to get this shot. You'll just be an also ran at shot, but you could be a big dog at Great American Outdoor Show. That's the way I feel about it.
Well, I don't want to crap
And
on Shot. Shot is an
no,
epic
no,
thing,
no. I'm talking
and
about
to get
it's
to
not
meet
crapping
the
on Shot Show.
industry. But yeah, I hear you.
It's not crapping on Shot Show. It's just so many more media people at Shot Show. The media room here, 5 people were in it, bro,
I see what you're
and
saying.
3 of them worked here. Oh, and by the way, Mo better food over here than Shot Show. They got bottles of water for us. They got bottles of Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, fresh fruit of fresh apples, pears, pineapples, all kinds of snacks we can carry out. I'm like, wait a minute, you telling me Great American Outdoor Show actually sets you up for more success? Oh, and you got tables laid out with power strips in them. And again, there's like 2 or 3 people in the entire room. So I feel just as doing the media part, it's easier. And also, the classes here are free. They
Oh,
have
nice.
classes, seminars every day, all day, every hour. Everything from hunting and fishing, all kind of things, to security, to self defense. Like they're all here the entire 9 days, and they're
So that's
free.
another
So,
element that I really like, and that I do not understand. Shot Show trying to nickel and dime seventy
uh
five
huh.
dollars out of people. I think some of them were $45. I'll quit saying 75, but still nickel and diamond people that are already paying to be there, and they're taking time away from the rest of their show. I just don't like it.
Hmm.
But that is cool. I didn't think about that when because I've only been to a couple of NRAs. I go to the NRA show
Yeah.
when they're close to me, and then we flew to the one in North Carolina, I think. So so I've been to a couple of them now, but whenever I'm not getting pushed around by Ted Nugent's thugs, Uh, there's the upstairs, and like they're always in a convention center, so there's like the upstairs hallways and stuff. Like if you walk around in an NRA show, you'll
Uh-huh.
find all kinds of other stuff that's going on, kind of like SHOT Show,
Uh-huh.
but they actually, what's the word, like it's free and they want you to go to it. It's
Yep.
not like it's hidden, and some of the stuff at SHOT Show isn't hidden. It's just that it's not,
Good luck finding
right
it
near
on the
the place.
second
Yeah, it's
floor.
just it's a big place. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, NRA show and SHOT Show are totally different things, totally different organizations, set up for different people for the most
Exactly.
part.
Exactly.
But there's so many, again, 9 days, and they have the schedule set up. If you like country music, they got concerts here. You're still in Harrisburg, PA, so they ain't that much, but they still got some good restaurants. We went out and had Vietnamese food last night. There's some good places to eat. I enjoy this show, and it's only a 3 hour ride from my house.
Oh, I didn't remember.
You
I
know,
didn't. I mean, you must have said that before, but I didn't.
hmm
Two and two.
and again,
That's cool.
I live in Trenton. I live in Jersey, so I think. And look, don't let me spend your money, but if you're trying to create content and you live anywhere in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Jersey, um,
What
and
about New
even New
York?
York
Is that
State.
close to you?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it depends on what part of New York State you live in. And really, if you're trying to create content, it would be smart to take some time and build content because this is kind of the underrated show nationally. This is the underrated show. This is the one that flies under the radar because most people talk about SHOT or NRA, and maybe Gun Con and Trigger Con, but those are on different coast. And John is running Gun Con. I don't even think he has a venue for Gun Con yet this year. This is the one that slides under. You get some YouTubers that come out here, but not a lot. And understand that if you don't go to Vegas, you're also elbowing your way into wherever NRA is held that year if you can make it. This is held in this area every year for 9 days. NRA is still Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, and that's like kind of people are getting the hang of it. Friday, Saturday is good to go. It's the most busy day, and everybody's elbow to elbow. And then Sunday, people
Gone.
are drag assing because it's getting to be the end of it already.
But most people are flying out either Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Oh, really? So they're not even showing up on Sunday all the time anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So they're not even showing up on. So my thing is every year, for state, it is not very expensive to rent a place. You rent a hotel in frickin' Harrisburg because it's not like it's Philly or it's not like it's Pittsburgh. It's Harrisburg, so it's not going to break the bank.
What's Harrisburg
I have
famous for?
being the capital. That's it. I mean, I guess they got some manufacturing here or something, but really, this is the only thing I know about Harrisburg. Is the Great American Outdoor Show. And again, they got good food, they got good restaurants, they got chain restaurants if you don't feel safe with that. They have lots of hotels because this is a huge convention center. Just it gets downplayed a lot, which I think is great. I mean, I got here at 8:30
Great for
this morning. I got
opportunity.
yeah, great for opportunity. Like I am low stress, no stress. I've gone to Taurus today. I've talked to HK today, and I'm just sitting in the booth BSing with the guys. But part of that BSing is you're building interpersonal relationships with these people that you can see at the show again next year. If you can get to an NRA show, you might bump in the same rep. Now, when you're talking about things, you want to get some exclusives or you want to talk to someone, hey, I was talking to Kevin over at HK. Hey, Kev, what's up? Tony, da da da. Hey, can you help me out and give me like a quote on the new whatever that just came out? Because I had some questions. You got somebody you can actually call and talk to instead of, well, just call our phone tree and ask for anybody in marketing. It's a little bit different when you go, hey, I'd like to speak to Keith in marketing, or you already have his extension and you can just call him directly and leave a message and he'll call you back. This is how you build that. this is how you, oh, how do you get these relationships? Because I kept showing up and I kept talking to them and we hung out and they told jokes and whatever. That's how it happens. You build up through here. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn into absolutely nothing. But maybe that dude you hung out with and had fun talking to goes to another company, and eventually he owns another company. Because a lot of these people in the firearms industry stay in this industry, mainly
Yeah,
because
just
I
move
think
around.
around the, well, I think about the third time you have a firearms industry, a firearms manufacturer on your on your resume. Good luck trying to get freaking work in another business, because all they're going is, all right, we know who's the active shooter going to be at the job. The guy who works for 4 or 5 firearm industry things before he came here to go to marketing.
I never thought about it that way, but that's a good point. A lot of
Yeah, I mean it's
what's the word? Um,
assumptions.
yeah, negative assumptions.
Yeah, bias and assumptions being made. Yeah, you work for Colt, you worked for Glock, and you worked for, pull out another company that people know the name of the company as a firearms company, and I think Glock, Sig, Colt, Smith and Wesson,
I feel
all
like
big
if you
companies.
worked for like a Smith and Wesson for sure, like a Ruger,
Yeah.
you could defend. You can say I worked in the shotgun department, or like I worked with the lever action rifles. But if you work for like a Glock or
Mm-hmm.
some of these other companies, they're gonna know you got something to do with 9 millimeter, and you good luck getting a job then.
Yeah, that too.
Right?
Um,
Like you can't wash your hands of everything you do out there. Just remember that,
yeah,
kids. When you start getting those jobs, and they say it's just another 1,009 millimeters, just wash it off, narrow it down, get that 45 and put it through the narrower and turn it into nines, or however they
yeah.
make it. I don't know how they make it.
How would they make it? How would they extrude that devil seed out? Oh.
But let's go back to an actual question. I think maybe even the second question
Mm-hmm.
that came in today from Mike White said, "Any thoughts on Trump's executive order protecting the 2A?" I'm assuming you've seen this already.
Nope.
Oh snap! No, you didn't see. He did this
What
yesterday,
did
I
he do?
think. Yesterday he did a thing. How am I going to find it quickliest? Somebody could link to it, maybe that would be cool. But uh, it's a
I've been here,
proclamation
so.
essentially. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like 3 pages typed out, and a couple of people have read it. So I'd listen to somebody read it, and it just says stuff like we're gonna, and like not we like the 2A. We're not going to be mean to it. And we're going to look
Oh
at anything that
God.
happened between 2021 and 2025 and decide if it was anti gun or anti rights, anti constitution. So it said a lot of stuff that sounded pretty darn good, but it also, like Guns and Water is saying, it's dumb. Oops, Woods is saying uh, doesn't really say anything exactly. It just sort
Yeah.
of, that's it could be a good summary. It just says like we like 2A, right? And guess what? We're not going to be mean to it, and we're going to look at
Yeah.
anything that Biden did, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Blow me. All right. This is what I want, because if we're going to talk about, and let's understand. Oh, they have the concert tonight. That's why these women are walking around half naked. Well, with super tight clothes on and booty hanging out and makeup.
Are they all like the same, like some kind of cheerleading thing, or is it like everybody's
Oh
just
no,
dressed
no,
up?
no, no, no. Cause I'm like, why are people more dressy now? And I forgot Saturday night is the concert, and I don't care about country music or the concert, but they usually have big names here. And now all of a sudden the jeans have gotten tighter. They're not mom jeans anymore. They're apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur, cowboy hats, and yeah, the girls have gotten cuter walking through the parking lot as I'm in here with the vehicle running and phone charging. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, and they're walking the other direction, so they're going to the concert hall. So that's what's happening tonight. I'm telling you, it's an adventure. It's fun to go, especially if all you want to do is people watch, dude. You can bring your own food. You can bring your own drinks in here. I've not seen one sign saying you can't. I mean, throw them a bone and buy something from one of the vendors if you're going to sit there at their table. But you don't have to buy a whole meal, but you can buy something and you can people watch. I had fun sitting at the table with some teenagers. I just asked to sit down because, they have the tables in the vending food area, and it was four of them, and they were like 6 or 8 chairs available around the round table. And it was just funny listening to kids talk, and nothing's really changed. You had two pretty little girls there, I don't know what ages are, but teenagers. And you had two dudes that just looked like this plain dorky dudes, and it was like they were doing goofy, dumb boy things trying to impress the girls. And I'm just laughing, like, yep, I remember that age. Like the girls would talk to each other, and then the boys would talk to each other, and then do something goofy to make the girls interact with them. And I just thought it was just funny, and it takes you back to just growing up. Nothing. The
All they do
technology
is
is
the
different.
words change, but none of the rest of it. I imagine
Yeah, and
Woods seen this in a
yeah,
whole
what's
different way.
that?
Well, just being around the school all the time, the kids are
Oh
probably doing
yeah.
the same kind of shit we did back in the day, just
Oh,
different
same
clothes and
damn shit.
different words.
Yeah, I'm looking at what they're talking. Yeah, and Bondi is a gun grabber. So see, my whole thing is never be so in love with some politician that you can't criticize the things they do. And my issue with Bondi is she'd already said gun grabbing crap before they even bought it in. I thought they were better people to have. I mean, truthfully, look, I'm a 2A absolutist, and that's all I think about, and that's what I do because hey, I can't be an expert on it, and I'm not even an expert on 2A, but this is where I have my passion and my concentration. So for me, it's like, well, who do you make, the attorney general? And again, I'm a 2A dude. Adam Kraut, fuck it. Yeah, put Adam Kraut in front of that because my whole thing is leave my Second Amendment alone and get rid of the ATF. Who do you put in charge of ATF? Josh Prince. Now, if you know who Adam Kraut is, Adam Kraut is a friend of mine. He was also an attorney. He started out working in a gun store here in Pennsylvania. He went to work for Josh Prince, I think even when he was in school, but he became a lawyer. He became a Second Amendment advocate. He's always been a gun guy. Uh, he's a dude that owns short barrel rifles and suppressor, and that was 10 years ago when I was hanging out with him. He's gone to work for FPC. He's gone to work for Second Amendment Foundation, and again, he worked for Josh Prince, who is Prince Law Firm and Firearms Industry Consulting Group. I think he runs that. But what he does is fight in Pennsylvania against anti-gun laws. Like he's that dude that's fighting here, and Adam came up under him, and now Adam runs Second Amendment. He's the president of Second Amendment Foundation, I think. So those are
Yes,
the dudes I'd
president.
want in charge. Yeah, those are the dudes I'd want in charge here. That's how pro 2A I am. That I'm on first name basis with some of these dudes. Well, who would you want to be the head of the ATF? Again, a Second Amendment advocate that wants to get rid of that shit. I'm like, I want somebody who's as passionate as these anti-gun fuckers are. I want to be passionate about tobacco, explosives, and what's the other thing they claim? Alcohol. I've never seen anybody go and make speeches impassioned about how they're going to stop alcohol-related deaths by using the ATF. I've never seen anybody talk about how they're going to kick cancer's ass by going after freaking tobacco, whatever, as part in the head of the ATF. It's always firearms.
Well, they've gone after tobacco and they've gone after advertising with tobacco for sure, and then they went after vapes a lot. So, I mean, I think they do
Well,
persecute to persecute
one,
tobacco
a,
use, but
a vape ain't tobacco and nothing about it is. You know what
no,
I'm
I'm
saying?
just no, but I think they're still
What?
regulated by the ATF or
I
whatever
I have no idea. But I'm
because
just
of
saying it's
nicotine, just because of
yeah.
nicotine.
I'm like that's a crossover bullcrap because that ain't tobacco at all. That's just nicotine. Um,
But I'm
but
just
the
saying, I
reason
know
I'm
they
saying it,
do campaigns about that because they're always worried about if it has flavors, it's going to be for kids, and if it has a cartoon, then it's for kids. But okay, so it's 400,000 with tobacco die every year,
mm-hmm,
100,000 from tobacco. No, it's a 400,000 from tobacco, 100,000 from alcohol, or is it the other way around? And I think it's that way. And then 40,000 if you count suicides, 10,000
mm-hmm.
if you don't count suicides, 10,000 deaths from guns, and that's if you take suicides out, that's crimes and legitimate like self-defense. So
So
10,000 versus 100,000 versus 400,000, and like you're saying, what's their task? Like, are they going to address any dent in the 100,000 or in the 400,000, or are they going to
I want,
keep fucking messing with us about the 10,000?
yeah, because it's never about safety; it's about control. And yeah, my whole thing is, let's go back to the Trump and executive order. It's I'm gonna start doing the Second is for Everyone podcast again and pushing it real hard, because we need to get people to put foot in the Republicans lawmakers' asses about where all those pro-gun bills that you guys were always talking about when you weren't in charge. It's time to get off your ass and get them passed. I'm tired of hearing bullcrap. Uh, this executive action sounds like a whole bunch of words that mean absolutely nothing, because work needs to get done. We need to change laws. I don't want executive orders that come along and can be reversed immediately with the next president with a pen and a call, a pen and a phone. I want work to be done, and it's a distraction. Everyone's still talking about U.S. aid and other things like, we can talk about that, but let's get real work done. It's been a month now. You've done USA,
They
you've
said
done
on
this, you've done that.
they said on NPR that USAID, because it's not US aid, US,
Yes, it's USAID. Yeah,
but
they're
anyway,
trying to
that is,
conflate it, but yeah, go ahead.
but it's 2% of the budget or something. So
Okay.
this is NPR, so they're saying it's 2% of the budget. So when they take big chunks out of it, it sounds cool, but it's really nothing compared to the what do they call it, the military, which is 70% or something, or 17. I don't know, bigger chunk. And
Okay. And
I don't know. I'm just saying that. And then I think
uh-huh.
he the next day said he's taking big chunks out of the military. So I mean, for what it's worth, I have no idea. I'm not
I
trying to
just
say
have
anything other than just putting it out there.
no, no,
It's
no.
too,
I totally get it, but it's funny to me because it's like, oh, save the government money, money, and then the Republic don't care. All right, well, this is what we're doing to save money. Well, that's only a small percentage of it. Okay, how do you save money? I didn't know you save big chunks of money at a time, or don't we? When we during our savings, we set up small
oh no,
chunks and
yeah,
we
no,
save money
exactly.
how we
And you
can
got
every
to
day.
start somewhere. What do you just know where
Yeah,
all the big chunks are to grab them, or do you start in a corner and start going through methodically and taking what you get when you find it? Yeah.
yeah. When you're trying to save up money for something, what do you do? All right, I'm
Well,
not going
and
to
then
eat
the other
food
side of it
anymore.
is they're not done. It's not like they finished and
Yeah,
said we're done. Completed our task. Like they're
exactly.
this is NPR. They're trying. I mean, I don't know if you listen to NPR. I listen
Yep,
to it as a
I
matter of
used to.
practice. I liked it a long time ago when I was a kid because I really
Uh
do
huh.
think it was. It probably was left, but it was fairly. Yeah, maybe I was just a dumb kid, but I
I
felt
think
like
we
it
were
was
kids,
more,
yo.
but I think it was more, um, what's the word, non-biased. But now it is
Yeah,
so biased that it's, and I get it when it's like a funny show or like an entertainment show, but when it's a news show,
yeah,
it's as bad. That's why I
yeah.
don't listen to the right wing crap. I could never listen to Rush Limbaugh and shit because it's just horrible
Nope.
echo chamber shit. But
It was so yeah, echo chamber. Yeah, but this, well, this is funny to me because they're acting as if when you make your budget up, because many of us do, and I have as part of accounting classes and stuff. It's like I'm trying to save up for a car. All right, I'm not. I'm going to start buying store brand groceries instead of name brand because that'll probably save me this. I'll change grocery stores to this discounted brand. All right, now I save, you know, 10% on my food bill just by changing the store and the name of brand I get. Oh well, that's only 10%. All right, what do you want me to do? I'll stop eating food. I'll stop eating food. That way, it's a big part of my budget. It's 35% instead of 10.
yeah,
Is that
well,
what
it's
you
like
want?
because it adds up, like you're saying. Like then you'll
Yeah,
also let your clothes stretch a little longer. You'll also wait
yeah,
before you buy luggage. You'll also not buy so much ammo this month. Like, and then by the time it all adds up, you save 35-50%.
yeah. I mean, look, I mean, I've done it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, um, I'm only
A
buying a
lot of
couple of
times
cigars.
I'll get salmon roe instead of caviar. It's similar.
Well, my thing is I'll cut down from buying this many cigars to buying one or two. and I don't have to supply everybody. I don't have to give out cigars when we do our post diversity shoot. Uh, what do you call it? After action report, because that's what we do outside. We're hanging out, we're decompressing after the event, and my guys are giving me a breakdown of what happened, what good, what bad, what can we improve, what they think will help out next time. We do that, and we chill out with a cigar. And if somebody doesn't have one, I give them one. Well, we got four guys that are cigar smokers. You know what? They can donate a cigar to the dude that don't have one this time. I'm trying to save up a little money because I got pizza to buy. Oh, I got one more trip to make. Like just 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be in Florida for a GOA's Second Amendment event down there, and I'm going to be a speaker and I'm going to be on a couple panels. I'm making my money stretch. You know what I mean? The money we make at the February 13th diversity shoot, some of that will be directed to paying for the rental car in Florida because I'm flying in Orlando, but I'm driving to where the event is. So that's going to be cool. That's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, let me go
Uh,
back to when you were talking about being a Second Amendment absolutist. Um,
uh-huh.
I haven't said this one in a while. And where are we at? We're 2 hours in. I didn't ask you where are you at with time.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get out of here. I got to text the guys and find out what we're doing. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to drive out. Don't worry about it.
So appreciate it. But one of the things that I haven't ranted about in a while, not really bitching. I think I'm just ranting. But why I am a Second Amendment absolutist, why I think that it's worth putting the time and effort into the awareness of what the Second Amendment is all about, is because it's achievable, right? It's something that is reasonable for us to attain. I say this because, in just my experience, my time on the clock, we've gone from a number of states that had uh, concealed carry after some deliberate acts, deliberate work.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my time on the clock, watching what's going on and being part of it, we went from just a few states having concealed carry to all 50 states having concealed carry, which was unheard of. No one would have ever
Uh-huh.
put money on that in Vegas. And then beyond
Nope.
that, we've gone to constitutional carry in 29 states, which again,
Mm-hmm.
no one would have ever even imagined that back in the day. So I see it as indication that we can really make some change. In 2018, we had the National Reciprocity and the Hearing Protection Act that were about to go through and be passed because the Hearing Protection Act was looking at the suppressors being taken off of the NFA as a issue with the medical issue, right? What is that, the APA or the AMA
Mm-hmm.
or something?
Mm-hmm.
And it was likely to be passed. Everyone was just about, all but counting our chickens before they were hatched. And then the most
Mm-hmm.
outlandish fake bullshit happens in Vegas that was completely
Mm-hmm.
unquestioned and then swept under the rug. And
Mm-hmm.
Trump, who everybody loves, just went, oh yeah, take that shit off. No one's ever going to pass
Yep.
that. Let's get rid of it. And then it went away completely. And then, of course, the next administration was like, that never happened. No, nothing. And of course, no. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But that was almost a thing. And we can bitch about it, but same thing. Like we can also remember that that was almost a thing. We live in that
Yep.
world where that would have been unheard of. We had the braces start in 2012 and 2015. Again, my time on the clock while we're all sitting around the heyday of gun channels. We get the Friday afternoon. We're all sitting around in a live chat, and Friday afternoon, before there was any self-proclaimed news people for us. We all just watched the news ourselves. An email came out from the ATF saying, "Oh, by the way, if you shoulder a brace, you're now assembling a short barrel rifle, and it's illegal. You go to
Yep.
jail for 10 years." And that just came out as like, "Oh, by the way, the Friday before SHOT Show, let's send out
Uh-huh.
that email and disrupt the industry." And then we see it go from that to like, "Oh no, sorry, my bad. You can do whatever you want with shouldering it. It's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely a brace. It's still just a pistol." Obviously, that's gone back and forth to a completely bullshit question and answer thing. Anyway, I don't have to go through all the things. You can hear what I'm getting at is that I think this is an obtainable thing. It's going to be a fight and it's not guaranteed, but I believe it's reasonable. And I believe that what's going to take us over the edge, the way that we've got here is through a lot of people doing stuff and getting some precedence and time on the clock so that it's really, and I've said this a million times, like back in the olden days, I would say this and it's come true. But in a state like, name it, because they're all concealed carry now, somebody gets concealed carry. Okay, so now my husband has concealed carry, my brother has concealed carry, my dad, my wife, my girlfriend has concealed carry, somebody has concealed carry that I know. So now I'm not as scared of it anymore. And then how many concealed carry people do there need to be? I don't know what the 10 degrees of, what is it, 6 degrees of
Mhm.
Kevin Bacon, but it's
Uh
like
huh.
6 degrees of concealed carry. Like if you know a concealed carry person, okay. But then if you know somebody who knows somebody who's a concealed carry person, so like, okay, I know my best friend whose mom concealed carries. Now I'm not
Mhm.
scared of it anymore. Like
Yep.
it's off the table. It's gone. And that's why we went from everybody can have concealed carry to like everybody can have constitutional carry because nobody's scared of that shit anymore. I was saying this earlier. At some point I don't know what to call it, in culture, we all associated a handgun with a revolver, probably up
Yep.
until the 70s, even 60s. If you said
Mhm.
handgun,
Definitely
and
70s.
before
Yeah.
that, if you said handgun, it was a derringer. And then it wasn't in the cowboy days, it went into a Colt revolver, right? But at some point, probably with the 1911s and the Glocks and something, the Berettas, the when you think of a handgun, you think of a pistol now. And at some point, when someone says think of a handgun, it'll be a fucking pistol with a red dot on it because that fucking fad won't go away, right?
Yep.
Like we see this evolution, and nobody's making that happen. Nobody's like, hey, I'm for this, and everybody should think of it as a pistol now. Like that just happens. And I think that I think it's a realistic thing to be a Second Amendment absolutist because I think the thing that'll get us over the edge from where we've been and where we're going is the awareness and the education. And we talked about it a little bit with the NRA. I could totally see them facilitating it because of the people who are taking over the NRA. But with awareness and education, we're done. When Girl and a Gun, it's already massive. But the
Mhm.
same thing I said, like the 6 degrees of CCW, now it's the 6 degrees of Girl and a Gun. So if you don't know, Robin Sandoval does Girl and a Gun.
Mhm.
1,000 ladies show up in Colorado, and yeah, the Overton window. Thank you. Uh,
Yep.
I guess I can highlight other stuff. I've been trying to not unhighlight that so that I could get all my points out, but I'll go back and highlight some of the good points that have come up in the comments. But anyway, when Girl and a Gun, like, what's the 6 degrees of separation there? They shoot out of a fucking
Mhm.
helicopter recreationally. Nobody thinks that these
Yep.
ladies are Rambo or trying to have big balls or giant compensation for something, right? Like these are just
Mhm.
ladies that are enjoying the recreational and interesting hobby of firing guns out of different ways and doing different things with guns and learning different ways to use it as a defensive tool and everything else. So anyway, I really think that it's um, that the Second Amendment fight is something that is for the good because in the end, having a bunch of people who leave each other alone is better than having a bunch of people who are scared of each other. And that's what we're
Yep.
really fighting for. Is just, hey, don't be as scared of gun owners. You already are not as scared of them. You're just being told you're as scared of them. But in reality, if everyone who actually was a gun owner raised their hand in this room, you'd be like, oh, I'm not scared of any of these people, right? Like you're just
Mhm.
being scared of this like voodoo or not voodoo, but or voodoo man? No. What do they call that? Like the you know the image that
Straw
they're trying
man.
to create. Yeah, maybe that straw man of a gun owner.
Yeah, or the
Anyway,
straw
so
man
with
argument or the boogeyman they're creating. Yeah.
boogeyman. Yeah, the boogeyman. So, but with awareness and education, we take that veil away. We remove that, and it isn't through like yelling "I'm right" or "I'm wrong." So anyway, when we
Mhm.
win that, what we've done is then shown the world. Because here's what's the world look like after everybody leaves gun owners alone? Like nothing. It's like maybe the
Nothing.
shooting sports are a little bit bigger, but otherwise there's fucking nothing. Maybe the 9 millimeter fad will finally end, but the
Mhm.
only thing that'll be different is that everyone will have seen a successful societal effort to to create awareness to leave people alone instead of saying you have to listen to me, like you have to leave me alone. It's more of like, would you please leave me alone? Because that's really
Hmm.
what's going to win. Is like, will you please just listen to me? Now leave me alone. And that's all we're really asking, right? Really, I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to rant about, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, we just want to be left alone. I'm just looking at this. All right, man. I've got to wrap this up. What is this? I highlighted something and it won't go away. I don't know what's up. Is that highlighted? Woods Overton window comment. All right, cool. It's not highlighted
Okay.
anymore. I don't know whether it was me or you. I haven't seen it be highlighted, so I must have bumped into it when I moved my phone.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
yep, yeah, I gotta contact the guys to find out where we're going if we're gonna go to dinner. But yep. So what we talk about, the executive orders just sound like a bunch of. I mean, not whatever you call that crap was just a bunch of words. Doesn't mean shit. We need to get our legislators involved in changing the law. We need to get. I don't like the idea of constitutional carry, but if they can vote on it and make it the law, great. I don't want an executive order that creates constitutional carry. I want the law to change, and they have to vote to change it back. That's what I want. Um, what else do I want? I want them to get rid of the NFA. I want them to get rid of the Hughes Amendment. I want them to get rid of the ATF. Give a damn. I love. This is what's annoying.
Do you watch
An organization.
the O's,
Uh,
is it OC?
what's up?
The there's a thing on spread on Substack that I follow, and they were
Mm-hmm.
there when they were saying like what things should you be doing instead.
Mm-hmm.
Remove the import restrictions on
Yep.
762 and on Russian shit. Like let us import shit
Yep.
again.
Let's remove the friggin' restrictions on shit coming in from the China. What was the name of the? What was it? What the friggin' frack was that? Um, what's the name of those AKs that everybody friggin' drools all over that came from China back in the
The
day?
SKSs and the
No, no,
what
no. A comp, a company name.
Narinko and
Yeah,
Poly.
Norenco.
Yeah,
Yeah, Norenco and Polytech. The only reason they're so expensive in America is because we don't allow them imported anymore.
and it would
You
piss
know what
off
I'm saying?
Canada because they're stopping it. But go ahead and do
Yeah.
your thing. We chatted for 2 hours. Thanks for jumping in, and thanks
All right,
everybody for
man.
joining us. Go ahead and jump out, and I'll just end the show.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. How do I jump up?
That's a good question. Probably just turn it off. But Tony
I
does the
guess.
diversity shoot, so stay tuned to his Eventbrite for alerts over there, and also the website diversityshoot.com. You'll get updates. Of course, you can follow him on socials, and he'll post about the different events that are coming up. And he brings people, well, he welcomes people to join him to kind of an introduction and orientation to firearms, and they have pizza and then chat a little bit, and then have at their leisure go back and kind of with one-on-one um, person with a bunch of different firearms, like lets them shoot different things and have that experience. And Tony's been doing that now since 2015, 10-year anniversary. So we have a poll going, and it's a little weird because I'm sharing just the window, so you can't see, but I'm wiggling the window around and got up behind other tabs and stuff. But the question was best topic for a live gun chat. When I started this thing, I set it up too early, and so it was sitting here for an hour. And I put the poll up just so that there'd be something for people to do who might have been waiting for the show to start. But 12 people have already voted. Feel free to jump in there and vote. I was surprised that nobody voted for favorite carry setup. I'm wondering if that's the audience or the show, because usually I don't talk about stuff like that. But I don't know if that's why people are answering that, or if it's you truly don't give a shit about that stuff. But then myths and misconceptions came in last with, well, I guess third with 8%. Then classic versus modern firearms came in at 42%. Okay, so then 50% is 2A news and recent legislation, which just happens to be what we talked about today. So I'll go ahead and end the poll. I'll end the screen sharing so that we're back to the thing. Oh, look at that. We got the little puppy hanging out on the side there. All right, well, so I'll try to hit some of these before we end it so we don't leave you hanging. Because I'm still kind of playing with this new software. There's rooms, I guess. There's rooms and there's, what do they call them? Studios. So there's different places I can set up live streams, I guess, and use them over and over again. The other systems that we use, you just start one and end one, and you start one and you end one. This one is a lot different because you set one up and you use it over and over again, and you can set up multiples. So there's just a lot of bells and whistles or knobs to twist over here. Twisting a lot of knobs. So hopefully I answered that question again. It's something I think is important. Like, some people assume, I believe that when you're a gun owner and you're a Second Amendment absolutist, they assume that just means you like guns and you like guns more than you like lives or some bullshit. When I believe there's a greater societal gain here. If we can achieve a win, or if we can do the job of making ourselves clear on why gun owners are not the problem, what we've accomplished is, helps us, but it also shows the society that there's ways that we can deal with giant problems ourselves without some kind of supervision or moderation from outside. And I believe that organizations can influence this and facilitate it, but they're not going to orchestrate it. Or maybe that's what I said. They're not going to make it happen, but they can help it happen. And ultimately, it's just, I believe we're going to see it happen because we have a lot of interested, creative, capable people in the mix right now. It would be amazing if it didn't happen, in my opinion. So anyway, I thought that was worth talking about. And keep your eye on the krauts. I got you. Various sauerkrauts we could have a chat about. I've seen this episode before. Uh-oh. Well, I do tend to rant on the same things as often as I can. Ending ammo restrictions, ending gum import bans. Yep, same thing I was saying. OCR, who's the name of that? I can't think of I'll think of it when I'm not trying to think of it, but there's a Substack that just did a post about that. Weston says an angle on, I heard Bondi say she's going to have the ATF focus more on alcohol and tobacco and have more agents focus there than firearms. Okay, well, that would be awesome. I'll definitely be willing to be wrong about my opinion of her, because my opinion of her comes from like 2 posts where she was literally telling Trump about how great red flag laws were, and he's like, okay. So if he's going to be like, yeah, okay, then you should tell him the red flag laws are bad, right? Gunswire saying we have a effing amendment and they ignore that. What legislation you come up with, they don't ignore. No, that's a good point. And that's where I think the frustration comes from the people that just want to play ping pong with laws and with the courts, which are great mechanisms, but they're not our only options. And one of the options is awareness and education. I just keep saying that, but we have so many creative ways now and useful ways to get information out there that with some coordination at all, just minimal coordination, we can achieve great things in a direction with some, what Wood said, the Overton window, with the understanding that we can make some changes, then, nothing's going to be accomplished through just yelling and screaming or running around. It's going to be done through creative educational ways. So yeah, the amendment and everything is the reason we're doing it, and it's what justifies the government's requirement to leave us alone. But we should expect that the people who have something to gain from the fight are going to keep fighting. Unfortunately, scoundrels are going to scoundrel, right? Like lazy jackasses are going to be lazy jackasses. We can't stop that. But what we can do is become resilient to it make it so where they have nothing to hold on to. Right now, the only reason they're doing it is because a bunch of people think gun owners are assholes. Once we change that opinion, then they're going to go do something else to try to make a buck. And I'm pretty sure if someone were to take a look at the anti's whole situation, it's to make a buck. Like, what's his face threw a bunch of money at hating guns and paying people to hate guns and whatnot, but he got a lot of that fucking money back with that 2000 whatever bipartisan safer communities Republican backed let's pay back Bloomberg bullshit, because all that did is take $40 trillion and put it in a pile and make the states fight over who's going to get that funding, and all that funding went to Bloomberg organizations. So we just paid Bloomberg tax money to the tune of $40 trillion over 10 years. I mean, there's no way he paid $40 trillion or whatever into this bullshit. This was a massive scam to make money and to make us dupes into his whole like little bullshit. That's why I get mad when the big organizations play right into that back and forth bullshit. We could end this. But anyway, Woods is saying my local NPR affiliate is great on local stuff, then turn it off when it goes national. Interesting. The local one here is weird because we got the border and that whole thing. So NPR comes out of Phoenix, and Phoenix people are different than Tucson people, and we're different than Nogales people. Nogales is the town that's on the border. Yuma is different than Nogales, and that's different than Bisbee. These are all three towns. If you go by Texas, it's Bisbee, and if you go in the middle, it's Nogales, and if you go over by California, it's Yuma. So different situations on those different points of the border, and different aggressions and different, Yuma is underneath a Marine base, I think, like some kind of airplane. What do they call that? Like what do you call the shooting range for airplanes? And then Nogales, half of it is reservation, most of it's reservation, so that's a whole different situation. And then Bisbee is, well, it's mostly public lands out there. So just different situations, and Bisbee's kind of way the far away from anything in Mexico. Anyway, so Phoenix NPR is really out of touch compared to all the other stuff that's going on in Arizona. So I hear what you're saying. But the national stuff is where I find the most interesting opinions, because who do I listen to on YouTube with those opinions? Nobody. So that's the only way I get those. Well, not the only, but one of the ways I get those opinions. And people in real life I know have those opinions. But anyway, the gun laws could mirror marijuana laws from super illegal to now few really care. Everyone knows weed smokers now. No one cares. Dude, I've been saying that one for a while too. I totally agree. There was no way that somebody sat down. There was no like magazine that all the weed smokers, read, or there was no like product that they all bought that they all went, oh yeah, let's sign a petition and make weed illegal or make weed legal. And so that just happened. And when it swept the country, much like concealed carry and then constitutional carry. And then, like you say, now there's tons of people who probably, I don't know how many years ago this would have been now, but 20 years ago would have said, like, these people need to go to jail if they smoked a joint. And now they either have smoked the joint or they don't give a shit about people who smoke the joint, right? So same thing with gun owners. We just need to emulate that, right? Like mirror that, like you're saying. And then the Overton window. Voted for classic versus modern. And the only person to put in hashtag bacon bit. I'm pretty sure the only person to put in hashtag bacon bit. And that was 6 minutes ago, according to this. Let's see. I'm going to go back and look. Oh, I can search. Look at that. I can do a search. And then, boom, put the star on there. So let's see if I can do anything about it. I can go over here, and then I can go to, is it apps? Where did I find that stuff before? Logo? No. Video clips? No. Overlay, maybe? I think it might have been overlay. Was it? Was it upload? No, it wasn't upload. And it wasn't overlay, probably. It was layers, though. Dang, I don't know where I found that thing. I found a thing. Oh, add new from Marketplace. That's probably where it was. Here we go. Let's go with this wheel of luck. Let's add it to the scene. Can only be added to a pro scene. I don't know what a pro scene is. All right, I was trying to add a thing, but it won't let me because it's not a pro scene. I don't even know what that is, but all right, well. All right, well, I guess, oh, that's neat. Okay, so now I found some other stuff that I wasn't looking for. I found a roulette wheel over on this thing a while back. And, well, I guess not a while back. I've only used it 3 times, but one of the times, and now I can't figure out where it was. So we've got both of them in there from Gunswater. So I'll put one of them on a star. And what are we going to do? I'll have to go find some sort of a off-site spinner, and we've had them. I must have it in my favorites somewhere. But both of you will win this week. So if you want, I probably have everybody's email, but as you know, I don't keep those. So if you would, maybe on Instagram, if that works, make sure I've got a good email address, or Gunswater, however you want to send an email over to me, or a good email, a good physical address for me to send some stuff. I'll send you some patches from SHOT Show this year. So thanks for putting in the hashtag. There was a scroll at the bottom of the screen thanking our Patreons, the people that financially support what we do. We're I would say a group of people, a loose group of people. It kind of fluctuates depending on who's got time to help out and do stuff, but there's probably about 7 of us all together. And one of the main things we do and have done over the years is have our websites up there. And that's why we're called gun websites or gear websites, because we have a bunch of websites, and those websites do all kinds of things. Mostly the ones we care about, though, the ones that are most important for us, are the ones that educate and create awareness. I bitched about this about 13 times tonight, but we have websites out there that have like calendars or maps or events coming up, and all the different museums or gun shops that we visited, and all the different projects that we've done. And the goal is to create awareness of the different aspects of gun culture and community, so that we know each other and we know where we've come from, so that we can just have better conversations amongst ourselves and when we have conversations with other people. So I need to delete this to be able to see everything else that's being said. So again, thanks everybody for joining us, and for the guys that did the hashtag, you'll get something. I guess what I was saying is at the bottom of the screen there, it says thanks to our Patreons. They make it possible for us to have the servers going and to do the things that we do on the line to help promote those folks who are doing better work than we do. All right, like Tony and Amanda and Teresa and Charlie and the other Charlie. How many Charlies do we have in the Pro Gun? We have a couple. And with that, I'll quit saying stuff. I will find the place where I click on things to click on this. Now you think you're in the Matrix. Am I still saying stuff? Can you hear me when I'm saying this? Or you don't hear me? You do hear me when I'm saying this, or you don't hear this? That's what I'm wondering. Because if you do hear it, did you hear stuff when I wasn't when it was that Matrix thing? Okay. All right. Thanks.
Captain, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at gearwebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed. You place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us, and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at gearwebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.